Hello everyone, welcome back to another Doctor Who stream. In this Doctor Who stream, we're talking about the recent collection, Doctor Who Season 9. We're talking all things that, talking about the stories, the special features, the restoration, all that jazz. As ever, I am joined with Luke.
Yes, hello, Ben. Thank you for having me.
Glad to have you on board.
Glad to be aboard, Ben. We just did a salute as well, but you didn't see it. A little Time Monster tribute there.
Yeah, let's see
I feel
how
like
fair
Tom
we'll be
Levine
to
on the special
Monster
features,
bit.
actually.
Oh, do
You
you?
know, yeah, when Toby Haydock's like, he told me to do that. It's like me before going,
Yeah,
"Then do
yeah,
this,"
when
and
they're
then,
doing the
"Oh,
little
try
running
this."
thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, Luke has me at ransom at points. Like, you do this, we record this, we do this now. Yeah. So yeah, good to be here. Talking about 1972 Doctor Who. Is it a fine vintage? We'll find out.
Most Good Human season,
But before
perhaps.
that, yes. Touch sardonic, but you know. Yeah,
One
what have
after
you been
our
doing?
hearts.
Yes.
Finished up work for the week.
Lovely.
Yeah, a little bit of stuff going on, but more or less 2 weeks off because it's Easter holidays.
Yeah. Banter
still
or
work.
Easter.
Fun times ahead. Moved around some of my Black Series collection and sort of had a general sort out in my room because there's a lot of things collecting dust and such, things that I've just stuck around and left there with no real interest in, but not had the heart to throw away before. So things like that, really. Hello, Daniel Hager. Thank you for joining us. And hello, Joe Bowers. Glad to have you both aboard.
Hello.
What about? And mostly just diving through season 9, really. I'm halfway through the Dead Star as well. I finally got around to it. That's it's been like an ongoing meme for us, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I'm having it's a banger of a story so far. I think so. It goes in some directions I wasn't quite expecting.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got a bit Avengers in tone. It's very much going for that 60s, swinging 60s style.
Quite pulpy then.
Really embrace
comic book.
Yeah. Embracing things that the Troughton era didn't really touch on, and very much using the modern, for the time, sensibility of having Polly and Ben aboard the TARDIS.
Okay.
It's intriguing so far. I'm wondering where it's going to go from here, because part 3 certainly ends in an intriguing way. So I look forward to seeing how
3 hours
the rest
in
of
then?
it play. Yeah, 3 hours in, 3 hours to go, really. Or a bit over, because each episode's like just over an hour, isn't it? Usually, like between an hour and 3 and an hour and 7, I think they come out at.
Okay. I'll have to give it a listen so we can record our video on audio novels.
Yeah. But it's quite a easy listen, I'd say. Michael Troughton is a good reader. He gets you engaged.
That's what you want for like a big project like that.
Yeah, that's it, really. You need to know you're going to have a reader who can carry it through the whole way. Especially since this is the first one where it's just Michael. Because before, you've had Nick Briggs doing Daleks or Cybermen. So, although that is only very minimal stuff, but even so, it is a bit of a change. But no, I'm really enjoying it. You've got like a secret society mixed in there.
Oh,
so it's intriguing. You got some trips to coffee bars as well and stuff, and university life all thrown together.
Okay.
Plus, you're you know about the trippy 60 star, don't you? Because you did the extract. I think. Did you?
Yes.
Did you listen to the extract? Yeah,
I did. I did do the extract.
So you know about all that.
That's what made me go for it.
Yeah, it's interesting how that sort of style of storytelling hasn't come into it yet. Again, like you have that
Hasn't
weird
it?
trippiness of the opening, and then it's into 1968 London for a bit. So
Okay.
yeah, I'm curious to see if some weirdness like that pops up again. But yeah, it's wonderful stuff so far, and I think it's good that it is mixing it up like that. It's not just sticking with that. But how's your week been? What have you been up to?
Yeah, it's been all right. Mainly like you watching season 9, so we'll talk about that very soon.
No.
Finished watching
Did you?
Bad Batch almost. So nothing
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
to
you're
watch
right at
that.
the end of season 1 now, aren't you?
Yeah, right at the end of that. So hopefully I'll be all caught up pretty soon for season 2. But yeah, I've mainly been editing videos.
Yeah,
A
you've been
video,
quite full on this week, haven't you?
yeah, as like a little tribute to season 9, doing like a video dedicated to a story. There's one more left to come, which will probably be out next week because of a certain video coming out tomorrow.
Yeah. We've
Yeah,
thrown off your
which
schedule a
I'm
bit there.
excited for. No, because this was penciled in before that really came to be. So it's like, you know what? Let's release that fun video first. But yeah, it's
Is this
exciting.
other one the one
Very
I've
exciting.
sent you the thumbnail for the other day as well?
Yes, yeah.
Is it?
A
No.
certain Big Finish story. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a
So
lot of
it's all
fun to do, and
exciting.
hopefully everyone will have fun seeing that come together.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, so
no
that's exciting.
Mutants tribute though in your week of season 9.
Well, I
Or
thought
not
this could be our tribute to the Mutants because you've never seen the Mutants, and
No, I have not.
it'd be great. So I thought, you know what, then that's a way of covering the Mutants. I was gonna get like the Robert Harrop Mutants,
Yeah,
but
you mentioned that.
Agador was cheaper, so I was like, I'll buy Agador instead.
Do you think you'll get the Mutt at some point, or
oh
the sort of
yeah, I do want to get them up. It's
you were
just
sold
that
by Agador then?
well, he was cheapest, so I was like, I'll get Agador instead.
That's
but I will get them up. I will get them up, and I'll probably do a video on him. So, and the Mutt looks really cool.
The Snowflake asks, is the Smith in your name means that you were a fan of the 11th Doctor?
Yes, indeed. This username I've had since 2010.
No.
So it's kind of haunted me for this long. And it's sticking.
Yeah, I mean, you said in more recent stuff that you were a Moffat apologist, haven't you?
Yeah, I am a Moffat apologist. I do stick up for it. So I don't think it's bad. I like the Moffat era.
Nah. Yeah, I think not really been much Matt Smith content on the channel, has there, of late?
There's only so much you can do, really.
Yeah, I think especially Classic Who is more your bread and butter as well, isn't it?
I think, yeah,
and
because
B&M aren't going to come out with the Matt Smith era stuff. You're a bit stuck, really.
Yeah, I think that you kind of, with YouTube, you kind of get penciled in and put in a box. You either do that, and if you try and break out of your little box, you get punished by the algorithm. So yeah, it's trying to find a balance of trying to break out and it be successful so you can do more. But we tried reviewing TV stories with like the Regen Advent, so we've covered Smith fairly recently, I'd say.
Yeah, we've done a couple of his.
In that.
I think we're probably going to do a stream at some point as well, aren't we, with the new 11th Doctor Chronicles? Yeah, so we'll get some Matt Smith love in there, or Jacob Dudman love. 11th Doctor era love, at least.
Yeah, we'll cover that, and hopefully one day Matt Smith will join Big Finish, and we will talk about those when they eventually drop. Which it's got to happen eventually.
Yeah, surely. I hope so.
Fingers
Yeah.
crossed.
I know on the podcast a couple of weeks back, Nick Spriggs was asked about the future of the Doctor Chronicles now that Jacob Dudman is stepping away from them. And I think Nick just said, hopefully we'll just get the real things on board. Matt Smith and Peter Capaldi is the hope there. So
Yeah. I mean, Dan
Nick's
Starkey's
holding
there,
out
right?
hope. Yeah, Dan Starkey
Yeah.
would be great as the 12th Doctor because he's done the audio novel, hasn't he, and a couple of short trips.
Yeah, and he's done quite a few for the BBC audio range. When Capaldi was the Doctor, he did a few then.
Yeah, I suppose it's just the case of you got to get that love out there for Dan Starkey as the 12th Doctor as well, because part of what ended up getting Jacob Dudman in as the 11th Doctor was just the sheer amount of, fan appreciation for him and his impression, which then
his impression
evolved further into a full performance as he went from narration to full cast.
I think what they need to do with the 12th Doctor is what they're doing with the 11th Doctor, because I think the Chronicle range, this is no disservice to them, but I think they can seem a bit disposable.
Yeah, it very much feels like this is just filling in while we wait for the real actor to be free again.
So I think that's why everyone's really vibing with, 11 and Valerie in Geronimo and All of Time and Space, because it's its own little series. It's Big Finish putting their mark on the character, which done with other Doctors, so it's nice to see him get that treatment. So it'd be nice for 12 to get that. I know Time Jack tried and it was fine, but yeah.
I think it also maybe didn't help with Jacob Dudman there. He's a much stronger 11 than he is 12.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I think his 12 works in narrated form. I don't know if it's quite there for full cast stuff. Yeah. Dragonbug, Sea Devils is one of my faves. Pertwee's and Delgado's chemistry is fantastic, especially that sword fight. That's one of your highlight of the story, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's the best chemistry between a Doctor and Master, because it's a story that hints that they're more than enemies. They're not lovers, they're brothers,
Dragonbug's Capaldi content would be nice to see. We agree.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
Joe Bowers, I reckon we'll get 13th Doctor Chronicles at some point, although I don't know who I would cast as the Doctor/narrator. There was someone in a recent Big Finish who said
Old Lang Syne.
quite a bit like Jodie. Yeah. Well, unless, depending on the actors, you could get more companion chronicles out of that. I think it all depends whether or not Jodie's willing to come on board pretty soonish.
I mean, I'll be honest, I don't think we'll get 13th Doctor Chronicles. I feel like Jodie would be there at the gate, I think it's pretty... I think Jodie's the Doctor I feel will have the least time away from the role.
I mean, she's already said she's happy to return, hasn't she?
Yeah, like I feel
more
like
in relation to TV, but
yeah, I think she'd come back for audio for sure. Yeah, she's.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll get a audio novel in the meantime, though. Perhaps. I think that could be a way to get 13th Doctor content out there without needing like a full-on 13th Doctor casting decision.
Yeah. Probably get Sophie.
Same with short trips, actually.
Yeah, that's true. The short trips are kind of there.
Yeah, because I imagine they've got the rights now to the Whittaker era.
Yeah, they have, because obviously if they're doing Joe Martin and Sacha Dhawan, then surely they're part of the heritage stuff now.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, maybe next February with the next short trips volume, there'll be a 13th Doctor story squeezed in there. I can see that happening.
Yeah, I can see that now you mention it. That'd be a nice pulling
Cactus. Yeah, Rara Rasputin's Russia's Greatest Love. I can't remember the lyrics. Good attempt. You got
Yeah,
What you had, you had.
never know. Yeah.
The Snowflake. Speaking of season 9 with Day of the Daleks, I don't think the voices are bad at all. No, I don't think there's anything too wrong with the original voices.
Yeah.
There's a long pause there from Ben.
See, I found my way of watching it, and that's kind of the way I've stuck with it, and I'll explain why later.
Okay, we'll save that when we get to it.
Yeah.
When we getting the stream schedule timetable for April? Yeah, we will be coming out. I suppose we can say what it is. We've not quite
Yeah,
got
we
an
can
image made up yet, but we can give the details.
Do you want to announce it?
Yeah, I can get. Do you not quite remember what it was?
No, I know.
By exposing you
I
here.
know the first one. I know the first one.
You can announce the first one then.
Okay, the first one. I've just got to check the date because I'm terrible. Because we're gonna do. It's the 9th, isn't it? Our first one in April.
Sunday the 9th.
Yeah, on Sunday the 9th, we are taking a look at the latest Fifth Doctor box set, Conflicts of Interest.
Actually, I can't throw up a thumbnail for this one.
Oh, okay. We can show you the thumbnail. This is what you get for joining the stream. You get these nice little exclusive things.
Yeah, here we are.
Add that to the stream. If it loads. There we go. So that's a thumbnail for the 9th of April.
Yeah, I mean, we do usually like our Friday slots as we're in today, but it's coming out on the Wednesday the 5th, Big Finish confirmed, and we thought 6 episodes might be a bit of a squeeze in those couple of days, but we could definitely make it by the Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah, as much as we love Davison, we don't. I mean, we did it with 40 pretty quick, actually.
I think that was the Tuesday, though, when we got that on the Friday.
Oh, okay.
So we did have an extra. Yeah. I think better safe than sorry.
Yeah. So far, haven't missed one, so we're doing all right, you know.
Yeah, we've got one a week so far still. This is our 9th of the year.
Damn.
Now, so with Conflicts of Interest, we'll be going into the double digits.
Yeah.
And then and then next week on the 14th.
Oh yeah, we've got a thumbnail for this one as well, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is good.
Ooh. Here we go.
Are you ready? Because this is very nice. There we go.
Yeah, we're having a look back at Dalek Universe because that is exactly 2 years since Dalek Universe 1 dropped. And we never quite did a Dalek Universe. Oh, sorry.
Oh, go on. I was going to say it's close to David Tennant's birthday as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very close. I can't quite. Is it maybe the 18th, David Tennant's birthday?
It's around mid-April, I think. So
yeah, same with Peter Davison's as well. Is quite near the. I think his might be the 13th. Peter's.
Yeah.
But yeah, certainly it felt like a good time to look back at Dalek Universe really because we never quite did a stream on Dalek Universe 3, did we?
Yeah, we talked about the first 2, but we never did like the final box set.
Yeah, we certainly we've shared our love for that final box set, though, like when we did our tier lists and such. But yeah, this will be a chance to look back on that and the David Tennant output from Big Finish in general as well.
Yeah, now we've had another box set, another 2 or 3 since the last time.
God.
Yeah,
but yeah, we didn't cover Wink before, did we? Nor
no, don't think so.
Classic Companions, so there's a little bit more to share there.
Yeah, that's that.
That's the 14th, and then the 21st, we're doing a master tier list, aren't we?
Yes. Yes, we are, because we dip our toes into TV Doctor Who a little bit, and you know, I think doing these collection sets, they're great because you know, wider audience, and you know, everybody's seen the master story, so we can get some hot takes there. And the master's like the last obvious thing we haven't covered really. We've done all
it's
the
been a
other
while
monsters.
since we've done one of those.
Hmm.
It was sort of like a little series we had going last year, wasn't it? We did Daleks, Cybermen, Sontarans, Sea Devils and Silurians
Sea
together.
Devils.
Yeah, did the Ice Warriors, and then we sort of dropped off of that a bit.
Yeah, because it's like,
nice to
what
get
else
back
can
to
we
that
do?
now with the Master. Mm.
Yeah.
Ooh. And then the 28th, I can't remember. It slipped out of my mind too.
Oh,
We
you know
definitely
what
got
that
one.
is? It's fan poll. It's a fan poll one.
Oh yes, of course. That's why we haven't quite got the stream
Hmm.
timetable made as well, because waiting for the results of all that before obviously making a thumbnail based off the winner. But
Yeah.
it looks pretty conclusive to what the winner is. Do you want to
Yeah.
reveal that? I mean, not much to reveal because everyone could go to the community tab and see for themselves if they voted.
Yeah.
But,
So this week we gave you the power to vote for what our next Big Finish throwback review is, and you lovely people have chosen the Further Adventures of Lucy Miller. So we'll be taking a look at that box set.
yeah. So looking forward to going back to that one.
Hmm.
Yeah, we got a very good turnout for the poll as well. 133 votes.
Yeah. Very nice.
Yeah. It ended up being a lot closer than I was expecting as well.
I was surprised how well McCoy was clinging on, because when the vote went out, McCoy was winning, and then it was like 2 hours after McGann started to go for it. Really.
Yeah, I mean, McGann's currently at 45%, so he's pretty clear of the others
yeah,
now.
he pretty much won. Yeah.
But yeah, certainly early on, it was quite neck and neck between them, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you have voted in that, thank you, and we hope you look forward to our review of the Further Adventures of Lucy Miller next month. So yeah, that's what we're closing that off with on the 28th. So yeah, that's our stream schedule, and there will be a image of that put out sometime over the next couple of days, I imagine. Yeah, just a case of me getting off my ass and getting those thumbnails sorted.
Yeah.
I mean, I still haven't done the one for tomorrow. I've started the one for tomorrow, but I haven't finished it yet. For that surprise video we've been teasing for a little while.
It's very on brand for us. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, indeed. I saw you put a little tease out on Twitter as well.
I'm really happy with it, to be honest. I think it's such a cool video watch. I'm like, why have we done so well at this?
Hopefully it goes down well.
Oh.
I think you showed me a nice little image of it in process, didn't you?
Yeah. In the edit. So yeah, it's cool. It's cool. But yeah, we've got plenty of little pre-records as well coming up as well. We've got, I think, 2 series to come out in the pipe works. One Big Finish, one TV.
Yeah, we're just waiting for the floodgates to open there, aren't we? Just get a little bit more in the can before we start sharing that with you.
We
all.
can announce, and it's happening.
I think as well, they're a bit more manageable. It's not quite as full on as the advent calendar this time.
Yeah, there's no deadline. We haven't set a date where it's going to launch. It's just going to happen when we've finished it, really.
Yeah. And also, it's not quite as full on in length as well. There's not going to be that same commitment.
Yeah.
Hopefully, there's a more broader appeal to them as well. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Snowflake says, I am currently marathoning Doctor Who with my dad. I'm currently on the Crotons and can't wait to get to Spearhead from space. A dash of colour in there.
Beautiful, beautiful Blu-ray release.
Daniel Hager says, I have been listening to the Thunderbirds Peril in Peru on Big Finish, and I have loved it so far. No. That's one of those ones I'm steering clear of, just because I know I'd be interested in it. I know I'd enjoy it, but it's just like, I need to stop spending money on Big Finish. I need to hold back. Like, glad you're enjoying that one.
Especially with the price increase as well.
Further Adventures of Lucy Miller got me into the McGann and Lucy stuff, says Dragon Bugs. I ended up going back to Blood of the Daleks and loved it. I suppose there's just so much new stuff coming out that sometimes it is hard to go back and catch up with things like Lucy Miller, isn't it? So I can see people getting the Further Adventure set when it dropped and then thinking, these two are quite a good pair. Let's go get some more Lucy.
Yeah, that's how it started for him.
Yeah. I've been listening to Countermeasures, says Joe Bowers, spin-off, and it's great. I would recommend it if you're a fan of the X-Files, various political thrillers. Though a bit disappointed Seven and Ace haven't appeared. I mean, you did have that sort of Countermeasures pilot of sorts, and you just crossed over the assassination games.
Yeah, and you had them in Legacy of Time. Is it Split Infinite?
Split
I think
Infinitive.
it's called.
Or
Yeah, something like that.
Is it Infinitive? Yeah, Infinitive or Infinite, isn't it?
Yeah. So they have gone back to the countermeasures stuff, but not in their actual main range, which I guess bold move on Big Finish for not, succumbing to it. Because I guess the temptation is there to put them there, but
Yeah, that's true. I think
you want
especially
them
with
to
the
stand on their
sales
own.
seem to be quite weak, don't
Yeah. I mean, that's why they put McCoy in with Benny, with like the new adventure set to boost Benny back up. And then they set up with the Unbound, and I think Unbound did Benny well.
I mean, they got 7 sets out of it. Not 7, sorry, 5.
Yeah.
5 sets of
Yeah.
Unbound, 7 total new adventure sets. The Snowflake says, what do you think of Once and Future Past Lives cover art? It's
really good.
Very good stuff. Yeah, I look forward to seeing the rest of those. It's also very well made for the new logo. It's like the way the characters sort of cascade around the logo rather than it just cutting off awkwardly, like it has done with some covers where you can tell it was designed for the old logo and then just had to be ported over. Snowflake also says, I listened to Girl Deconstructed. It was brilliant. Oh, I do like that one. That's one of your top 3, would you say? Ninth Doctor stories?
Yeah, I'd say I've like the Ninth Doctor stuff so far. Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of Ninth Doctor stuff, shall we take a look at the news?
Yeah, let's do a little bit of news and then we'll talk about season 9.
Did you want to share the article or do you want me to share the pictures?
Go for the pictures since you've got them loaded up and we've found a system.
There we are. Yeah, if you were here last time, you remember I had to close it, stop sharing the screen, switch over to a different tab to show off these pictures. But now we could just cycle through them. Here we go. So here is our cover art for Pioneers. Louise Jameson in here as well, but not playing Leela, is she? She's playing a different role.
Yeah, that's a nice little trend, isn't it? That Big Finish was started to resurrect from the early days.
Yeah.
We've had Maureen O'Brien. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember Maureen's character's name. But yeah, she was.
I can't remember either, to be honest.
Yeah, she was the villain of the what's that James Kettle story called? Last of the Zeta Scene. Yeah, Into the Stars, the second box set series 2, and now in the first box set series 3, we've got Louise Jameson, but it's unclear whether she'll be a villain or not. It seems she's the captain of a colony ship, isn't she? There. So, and also we have Adam Martin back as Kanan is
Callan.
Yeah, Callan. There we go. And you got Doyle as well in there, which is wonderful to see those two back. Only for the first story though, so not quite full-on companions, but still, it's a step in the right direction, I suppose. So yeah, they're going to be in the first story, The Green Gift, which is a sequel to The Green Death.
Yeah, you can see Boss in the background, which is nice.
Yeah, and you got the maggots of some kind there as well.
Bit of a redesign.
That's it. It looks like Boss is going to be integrated into a colony ship and has certain plans underway. So that'd be an interesting story to see how that all plays out.
Yeah, it should be a good one by Roy Gill.
Yeah, and I suppose he wrote for Callan and Doyle back in the previous box set, Shades of Fear. So yeah, it's funny how the connective material is between series rather than within the series itself.
Yeah, does seem odd.
But with how quickly we're getting on to series 3, like there's been no real gaps in terms of releases, have there? It's been the
Yeah.
one every 3 months thing for a while now, so it feels like the series aspect of it doesn't really matter.
It just was like the 3-monthly range Ninth Doctor stuff, to be honest.
Yeah, that's it really. But yeah, that's a wonderful bit of artwork there for the green gift. Next up, it's Northern Lights. This one by Rob Valentine. So we're quite excited for this. And I think loads of people have been excited by the turtleneck, haven't they?
Yeah, because it gives me sort of like Clive Shed vibe of like the drawings of him. It just gives me that sort of feel to it. It feels like this would be in Clive's shed. This sort of image. I don't know. And I sort of get like the Gelf vibes as well, like the Northern Lights in a way.
Yeah, I can see. I suppose with like the red and the blue. It's like
Yeah.
the two Gelf colours, isn't it? Yes. I think that's probably my least favourite of the 3 individual covers.
I'd say the next one's my least favourite, just because it looks like a meme, but we'll get on to that.
Yeah. Well, here it is. The beautiful game. We were right with our football speculation.
Yes,
Going back
it
to
had
the
to be.
start of the Football League, which I think I looked it up. It's 1888. I think that was what it was. So yeah, you've got a old-fashioned football there with pigs, bladder and such, isn't it? I believe
Getting
is
a
how they
history
used to
lesson
make
here.
them. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it'll be in the story as
Because
well.
fans know about
Yeah.
football.
That's the extent of our knowledge, but I think Eccleston himself a big football fan, and it seems the Football League was like founded up in Manchester. So I
Yeah.
imagine this
So maybe
story
it's
will be going up there. Yeah, fitting for Eccleston. I mean, we've been a bit wishy-washy with the Ninth Doctor stuff, haven't we?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you're kind of like against it, and then they announce something like, "Oh, you've pulled me back in," and then yeah. I just think there needs to be direction there for the Ninth Doctor.
Are you pulled back
Something
in for
like
now then?
I am for now.
Yeah.
And I think that my problem is I'm too scared to get FOMO. I'm like, I don't want to miss out on this stuff.
Yeah. And I mean, with Roy Gill and Rob Valentine in there, you've got 2 writers
Yeah.
who have a good track record with the Ninth Doctor. Like Station to Station, we both really love.
Yeah. Banger.
And same with the 2-part finale of Series 1 was by Roy Gill. And that's very good stuff. So yeah, I'm excited for those 2 stories. And Catherine Armitage is a new writer to the Ninth Doctor, which she did do a 7th Doctor story, which I really enjoyed. So hopefully that'll be a solid one as well. I mean, can we finally get a 9th Doctor set that has 3 solid stories in it?
Could this break the curse and series 3 be it, you know?
Yeah. And I'd say it's mainly a series 2 curse, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd say so for sure.
Yeah. I think
But it started in Lost Warriors today.
Yeah, but I wouldn't really say it's there for old friends.
That is true.
But that's sort of a different format though, with it being a 1-parter and a 2-parter rather than 3 1-parters.
Yeah.
Snowflake says, I've seen the Ninth Doctor news. It's so fun, but odd in a good way. Howard and Martin is a Ninth Doctor companion now. It's nice that they've worked in a companion of sorts there for the Ninth Doctor. And it's nice that we're actually getting to continue with him, because we had it set up at the end of Series 2 that he'd be sticking around for a little bit so he could find his place in the universe. And it's nice that we actually get to see that now.
Yeah.
Or I just did have one worrying thought. Now thinking about someone trying to find their place in the universe and ending up on a human colony ship puts me in mind of that story from River Song Series 8.
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean.
Mm,
One with the big eel thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Episode 2 of Series 8 of River was a bit of a dud one for us. I can't
Yeah.
remember what it was called. So they had like James Goss writing the first one, didn't you? But I can't remember what. Oh, Series 8 of River Song feels like a long while ago now. Let's load it up just out of curiosity. Slight Glimpse of Tomorrow was part 1, and A Brave New World. That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a bit of a dud one for us. Jim Bowers, I wonder if Callan and Doyle's story will lead on from Red Darkness, or some time would have passed. True. I wonder if they'll maybe have some time pass and then leave the door open to maybe slot a box set in between there.
They probably will. It's Big Finish. They like gaps.
Yeah. Since we've had a Mind of Evil sequel and now a Green Steph sequel, what other Third Doctor stories would you want to get sequels outside of the Third Doctor Adventures range? I mean, we already had a Green Death sequel with Torture, didn't we, as well? The Green Life.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the Pertwee era has a lot of sequel material in there.
Axos has been done.
Yeah, Access to death almost. Like every time it's escaping its trap, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, like how many
Paladin's been
sequels does that
done,
have?
really.
Yeah, that's
On
had a whole
screen
box
as
set
well.
dedicated to it.
I feel like Day of the Daleks you could expand on a fair bit.
Could you say that Unit Dating is kind of a sequel?
That
Because
is
of
true,
the
actually.
Ogron.
Yeah. Oh. Planet of Spiders has been done in the EDAs.
Planet of the Daleks.
Yeah, that's been done in Return of the Daleks as well.
Although, to be fair to Stylish One, you'd say outside the Third Doctor Adventures range. So.
Well, it has been done outside Returns, like a little bonus release, isn't it?
Is that with the Frozen Army then?
Yeah, with like that's part of Dalek Empire of Karlendorf and Susan Mendes.
Back to Spiridon.
Yeah. Invasion of the Dinosaurs, yeah, that's true. Golden Age. That'd be cool.
I suppose you could kind of say the recent Sixth Doctor Adventures. Purity Undreamed.
Yeah.
There was a little. It wasn't quite a full-on one. It's more of just a reference, but still. If you're being pedantic.
Let's do the Mutants. We've not done the Mutants. They've done Time Monster in like the Eric Roberts box set. I don't know. Let's return to Solos. I don't know.
Yeah, what it's sort of awkward with some of them, like the Silurians. What is actually a sequel to that, and what is just another story with Silurians in?
Yeah.
I mean, Inferno didn't. That's had some expansion, as an outside of Third Doctor era. That's where one of the Virgin New Adventures covered that.
It was Scales of Injustice what dealt with Liz departing and Mike joining Unit. So that kind of maybe Ambassador of Death actually. Has that been done in any expanded form? I don't
know. No, I don't believe so.
But yeah, there we go.
Death to the Daleks. That had the
Dalek
that's
Protocol. Been milked. That's been milked dry.
In the Fourth Doctor Adventures, twice.
Yeah.
With the Exelons, yeah.
Damn.
Stylish Front, since you're both Doctor fans, I'm shocked you both love Planet of the Ogrons. Since the retcons about Ogrons must be almost as offensive to a Third Doctor fan.
It's for time.
I think you're less bothered by that than I was, actually, aren't you?
Yeah. I mean, it's been a while since I've actually listened to it to remember how offended I probably would. I don't know.
I enjoy it as a story, though.
Yeah.
I think you just got to take moments like that with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Like, it's similar to watching Remembrance and how much that arguably retcons about the Doctor's origins and an earthly child and such. The idea that he was hiding on Earth with the Hand of Omega. It's like, completely out of left field when you then go back and watch something like An Unearthly Child. It just doesn't seem to fit it at all, but you just accept and roll with it really as part of the era.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all good.
Just bought the stupid cheap Fight Doctor volume box set
Oh,
apart
the fifth
of
Doctor
the
box
latest
set.
sales at the fifth Doctor. That's a brilliant one.
That's worth your time. We did a stream on that about 2 years ago, was it? Now thinking back.
That was like the original throwback stream, possibly, isn't it?
probably.
Or was it either that or Series 3 of the Third Doctor Adventures? One of the two. I can't remember which order we did them in, but we did them around the same time, didn't we?
I think it was Fifth Doctor, then Fourth Doctor. I think. I could be wrong.
Let's have a scroll. I've got. Where are we? There's the Stranded stream. Oh, Fourth Doctor. We did Fourth Doctor and then Fifth Doctor. Yeah, there we go. I think it's probably we did the one throwback, didn't we? And then we were in the mood for another one, but didn't quite want to take the same amount of time on it. So, come on. April 2nd was the Fourth Doctor one, so nearly 2 years ago now, 2021.
Blimey.
Time has flown there.
Oh, absolutely.
But on to today. Well, actually, first, should we talk about Rani quick? I think a couple of people brought up in the chat as well.
Let's talk about Rani. We have the trailer drop. We've had Mrs. Wormwood returning for the second box set. What do you think?
I'm intrigued. I do wonder about Mrs. Wormwood because it's like, a big thing about her defeat was Karg's sacrifice there. So are you going to undo my boy Karg's sacrifice, or are we going to get Karg back as well?
If Karg's back,
are we going to
sign me up?
Yeah. Are we going to have Tommy Knight in there as Luke, since he is very much tied to Mrs. Wormwood?
Yeah, very pivotal character for the Bane, really.
I wouldn't mind seeing the Bane pop up in some Doctor Who stuff, sort of classic Doctor's New Monsters style.
Yeah, that'd be a nice little quirky thing, wouldn't it?
Because it's something you can easily get away with.
Because
it's not like there's any continuity, as long as there's not a Sarah Jane story with the third or fourth Doctor. I think you're fine continuity wise. Joe Bauer says, have Samantha Bond done any Big Finish before, or is it her first?
I don't think
it might
so.
Be her first. Oh, she did the Scapegoat. The 8th Doctor. July 2009. So it has been a while.
Yeah.
I mean, that would have been around the time she was playing Mrs. Wormwood on TV.
Yeah, it would have been, yeah.
So there you go. She's been in one before, and now she's come back to Big Finish for this second Rani Takes on the World box set.
She's a nice lady as well, actually.
Yeah, it's often the way with the villains, isn't it?
Yeah.
For the most part, the most villainous ones are the ones who end up being the nicest people in real life. Like a lot of people have said the same about Roger, haven't they?
Yeah, Roger still got it. Because I was doing like a TV show and she was on the set as well. And I was like, oh my God, that's like Mrs. Wormwood. So it's kind of cool meeting her there.
Oh, wow. What was that like?
It was fun. I mean, it was like -4 in like December, but it was really nice just meeting her going, oh my God, it's Mrs. Wormwood. That's really cool. But yeah, that was a fun 2 days.
Yeah, I know her quite well as from Outnumbered as well.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
She's like Sue's sister in that, but I can't remember her character's name. It's one of those things that's gonna bug me for a little while now. But while I think of that, shall we have a look at Stephen Noonan's comment?
Yeah, let's do some Stephen Noonan. Goodness.
We've got a little follow-up from him, haven't we?
Yes, indeed we have.
I suppose this could become a bit of a regular segment or semi-regular. on the
Yeah.
streams. But yeah,
We
last week
look forward to Stephen's comment because they're just full of so much knowledge and passion, and it's just delightful, isn't it? Really,
Oh, it really is.
it's just a treat.
But here we go. Ligacons, Pertwee Smith. I'll be honest, I've no idea. I'm guessing it's a hello in some language.
I think it means
I'm
the
not
boys.
well the boy.
I think
That makes sense. Which language?
probably French.
Woefully. I went for a French accent, but I don't know.
Ligacons. Oh,
Pertwee Smith.
but Smith, you live on.
We've now lost all our French viewers.
There we go.
We are in the city of death at the moment. Well, no.
There we go. I don't
know how to continue now. Should we just
carry on.
stream?
Carry on. We've peaked. We've not even talked about season 9 yet.
Sorry, Stephen, for butchering your comment in the first line and showing my ineptitude with world languages. Anyway, a few lessons about Demon Song first.
Hey, you're getting into the spirit now.
Oh no. Yes, Luke, there are indeed 3,803 pieces in the Lego Death Star. I had, of course, not that long ago to pay for every... I had cause not that long ago to pay for every one of them that have a son.
Oh, I can only imagine how spending that would have been, because Lego, it isn't cheap.
It gets more and more expensive by the year as well, doesn't it?
By the brick.
Yeah, that's... Yeah, I mean, that is a big little... yeah, that makes perfect sense. So, reasonably sized products, though.
There we go.
You get your money's worth out of that one. I think it's got like 20 or something minifigures in it. So it like recreates scenes from like both episode 4 and episode 6.
Oh, nice.
So you got like, it's broken up into little segments of different dioramas. And so you got like the prison escape. You got the final duel scene. You got Obi-Wan switching off the tractor beam. I think you got a hangar in there as well. Yeah, it's a full-on little... It's like a little doll's house, but round Death Star shaped. The explanatory dialogue about the demonic battle, singled out for criticism by Luke, characters just standing around talking about it towards the end of Demon Song, was demoralizing when I first read it. My script of one of those scenes has a bloody exposition scrawled at the top of it. Lots of, and now, oh listener, this is happening. I worked very hard at adjusting it, disguising its clunkiness texturally, inserting the unusual poetic Bob Holmes-esque words like transcendent and millards.
I mean, it matches the wonderful gothic nature of the story, having the Bob Holmes stuff there.
Yeah, milliards, not millards.
Yeah.
I'm struggling to read tonight. This is why I'm usually the one who types the responses and Ben's who speaks out loud. Anyway, and trying to find ways of making it vocally interesting, novel ways of or variations on Hartnell shouting, basically. Toby's music's helped a lot, but yeah. No. Any thoughts on that? Because I think it was more my criticism towards that than yours, wasn't it, at the end there?
Yeah, I think it's more down to like the nature of the story, isn't it? Like it was TV cut to effects of like, here's the big battle going on. Whereas I think we can hide the multitude of sins of, that. But obviously on audio, it's all in the soundscape. You do kind of need your hand held in those bits, really. I think there's no way of getting around it. But I think, Stephen did a marvellous job trying to cover the cracks, as it were.
I think it's great having a leading man behind this series who really wants it to be the best it can be as well.
There's care and passion. I think that's brilliant. But, Stephen's going through it, almost doing the opposite of Tom Baker in a way. But there's a nice suggestions out going, well, this is whippet shit. But there's care and passion of how can this be the best product out there And I think it shows, really. I think there's a lot of care and attention, not only in the performance, but in what's being done with the stories and the direction they're going with the range.
Yeah. I mean, it's like from what we've heard about Tom Baker back in the 70s, it was much more like him trying to bolster his role in the story
Hmm.
and sort of,
It's more of
make
an
himself
thing.
look better on the overall story, and
Yeah.
sometimes at the expense of the story. Whereas with Stephen, it seems, he wants the whole production to be raised, so really is putting in all he can into this. I know he asked Nick to send him like clips over and got like episodes at a time as they were being made, didn't he?
Yeah.
So it's wonderful to see that care and passion going into this series from the leading man, and not just it being a 9 to 5. Okay, it's recorded.
Yeah, literally. I get the
Wash my
script,
hands
I
of it now.
record, I go home.
Yeah, which is understandable for any
Mm.
actor, really. Like, it is what they're there for. But
But
going the extra mile, we appreciate it, Stephen.
I think that's the thing, because like he's a fan himself. He understands what it means and the dedication. So I think that it's more, the love of it, really, isn't it? He doesn't have to,
Mm,
but he does it because
yeah.
it's something dear to him. So why wouldn't you want to? I don't want to say sort of give thanks to it, but
Mm,
sort of go, thank you, Doctor Who. I'm gonna return something to you now by doing this. I don't know. There's probably a
yeah,
better way of putting it, but I don't know. Like,
I know
not
what you're getting
owed.
at. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a sort of returning of the favour, I suppose.
Hmm.
Also, just Doctor Who is something he loves and is passionate about, so it's understandable that given the chance to be involved in it, he's trying to feed that passion back into it.
Yeah. And it shows.
And not...
It shows.
Yeah. And I imagine it wouldn't surprise me if those moments at the end were something Bob Ayres wasn't perhaps as joyful about either.
Hmm.
But, in scripting, sometimes you have to make sacrifices. There's, I think, a limited amount of time when it comes to writing big finished scripts. So it's like,
Deadline
it's the
looming.
best it
Panic.
could have been at the time.
Hmm.
Yeah. And yeah, I think it works out well in the end, the Demon Song as a story.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think. But anyway, back to the comment now. No, Lauren was not vocally modulated in the studio. It was put on afterwards, so she was just acting it unplugged. It really was an extraordinary performance, which makes me a little sad that people didn't notice or just thought, oh, monster voice.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think that'll definitely be something we'll look out for when we go back to it and really appreciate that performance more than we did the first time around. Because it is sadly easy to overlook the monster performance, because when you think of the actor, you think of their main role, really, don't you?
Yeah.
And so you sort of have that disconnect. You're seeing Lauren as Dodo, and so you're not necessarily seeing her as the demon in it when she is. And so I think it's unfortunate and something we'll definitely be listening out for when we go back to it.
Absolutely.
The Canary, according to the script, are in Hinduism and Buddhism, not Islam. Buddhism does have demons, or even daemons, but in
Okay.
its original pure form, no gods. There we go. And now onto Intriton. I'm delighted that Ben noticed how this one opened up more opportunities for ad-libs. I was curious in preparing it to see if Nick, as he'd written it, was going to be as amenable to my rewrites as he had been with other writers' stuff. Brilliantly, he seemed to enjoy it even more. I've got a couple all on our tapes, of course. His responses to the changes and his chortling at... Sorry, I've just been meowed at by a cat there. That's distracted me a bit. What do you want?
What do you want, cat? Not from New Earth.
Yeah. No, not one of those cats.
No,
Not
okay.
a novice.
Not a novice Hayne.
No. Anyway, sorry, Stephen, back to the comment. Completely lost my place in it now. Here we go. Chortling at the suggestion of Veronica, for instance, was very gratifying. I had an internal joke with this story based on a Laurel and Hardy film. In the last 10 minutes of A Chump at Oxford, Stan is hit on the head by a closing window and it's turned into a genius. The doctor, in the incident, if you re-listen, does all his fluffing, and there's quite a lot of it prior to being shot. Once once he recovers in the boat, he never fluffs again. And it was a private joke between me and Nick, but enabled fun to be had in the early scenes. And then once the seriousness of the quest was established, his focus is intense and uncluttered. The fluffing is a quintessential part of the heart of the performance, I think, but it needs to be placed very precisely. I know he obviously didn't plan it out, it was accidental. But if I got too carried away with it, it can become gratuitous and distract me. Correct me if I'm wrong, Luke, but I don't think there were any at all in the miniaturist. I can't. Yeah, I can't say I remember. Yeah, I think certainly the ones in the Outlaws, like Cheryl, for example. I think that's what I've talked the times about now. Is Yeah, but I suppose Outlaws does lean towards it much more, doesn't it? With that being a
Yes.
light-hearted romp of a story.
It fits it. And I think going back to what Stephen said, you've got to place them delicately throughout the story, because it plays into that thing I said when we did the video about Stephen Noonan, for when you have people doing impersonation, they latch on certain elements of a character, like the fluffs and the grumpiness, where it can come across more caricature than a performance. And I think that Stephen walks that fine line beautifully, really.
Yeah, very much so. And I think it's interesting how, something that we definitely didn't pick up on with the interesting incident, how the fluffs stop after he gets shot. But I suppose that does work with the story becoming more serious as it goes along, as it draws towards its conclusion. Like you have the fun of the Doctor and Dodo going for their holiday at first, but then as things get more dire, as Dodo's in danger, the Doctor focuses himself, or the bullet helps him focus, as it were.
Sobers him up.
Maybe it got the blood flowing a bit more. Yeah, I suppose that could be it, couldn't it?
Yeah,
If the
I'd say
Doctor's
actually.
hearts are beating much more because of the bullet for one thing, his concern for Dodo as well. There's more blood getting to the brain, and so there's less fluffing from him.
There we go. TARDIS wiki that. Put it down.
I'd intimated in another thread to Luke that there were aspects of this one that he had identified in a particular way, if you know what I mean, that I agreed with. This isn't really the place to discuss that at length. Suffice to say that there are a number of ways in which I believe it could have been tightened from good to superb. Some other time for that. That's understandable, not wanting to, I suppose, air the dirty laundry out in public, I guess.
Have to get him at a bar at the BFI or something, or Big Finish Day. Don't know.
Right, what do you really think is wrong with the instruments?
Oh dear me.
But I still had a good time with the instruments and the box set as a whole. But I think I've had some thoughts as well about how it maybe could have been done a bit differently and a bit better, or at least for my personal tastes. Because I think part of the issue that I've realised since that I didn't quite discuss when we did the Demon Song review is that a lot of it is very much out in the open from the start. There's not much mystery going on. Right. And so I think maybe one of the things that could be changed is having more of a conspiracy going on there. And I think, well, with the military side of it, it's very obvious from the start that they are under the influence of the what's that? Sanderson?
Yeah,
I can't remember.
yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah. And so while you have this part of the story about the fallibility of the English position at the time in the post-World War era, post-Second World War era, where they are very much trying to re-establish their position in the world. They're worried about losing their dominance on the world stage, and so with the power from that ship, they think they can do that. But because the actions of the British soldiers in the story are done under the control of an alien force, you sort of lose that side to it.
Yeah.
Whereas in Quatermass and the Pit, which Stephen gets onto in a little bit, we're going to be ganging up on you in a minute, Ben, me and Steve,
Oh,
to get you to watch Quatermass.
I'll have to order it.
But yeah, with Quatermass and the Pit, you have a similar point of view with the military mind in there, in the form of Colonel Breen in particular, where he is while the thing in the hull of the ship, the thing in the pit, has influence, is shown to, it doesn't have that wide reaching of an influence, and so a lot of the decisions made by characters, they are making them in their right mind. And so I'm probably not making any sense here, to be honest, but it just feels like maybe it could have leaned more into that and had that influence come in later, perhaps, rather than all of the military characters' actions being dictated by an alien force in the incident. Well, I think that's looking at something Quatermassy and applying that to the incident. That's perhaps how it would be made better for me. But yeah, I think this is why I write things. This is why I do better at writing these things down, because I feel like I've just streamed a bunch of words out into the ether that maybe makes some sense if you look at them and piece them together, but I've not articulated them in any particularly decent way. I know what I mean, but I think I know what I mean at least. But there we go. Before I embarrass myself further, let's get back to Stephen's comment here. What I will say on a positive personal note is the vivacious energy, style, and comedic timing of Genevieve as Virginia, matched by how entertaining she is in real life, led me to suggest she played another part in another recording you don't know about yet that we did a few weeks later. I can't reveal any more other than that it's a free-hander with her, me, and John Coleshaw.
Oh, it's got to be Once and Future then, hasn't it? Maybe?
I don't know.
Is it that thing? Maybe he commented on a while ago.
It would make sense. You did mention.
Do you know what? I'm on about?
I know what you're on about.
Yeah.
Good.
Glad somebody does.
Yeah, there we go. I know what you're on about. You just don't know what I'm on about.
There we go. Together we are confused.
There we have it.
There we are.
But yeah, it's glad to hear that. Well, you and her have worked together again, and that we'll get to hear more interesting chemistry between two characters. Or not the same character, sadly. But yeah. I remember there was a comment on the extras about how, she maybe wouldn't work as a First Doctor companion because she shoots someone at the start of the story. But we know Sarah Kingdom shot her own brother in the Daleks Master Plan, so there's a precedent there for First Doctor companions shooting people. Barbara, of course, shot poor Sandy in cold blood. So the First Doctor, I don't think is as averse to the idea of having a murderer aboard the TARDIS. He doesn't mind his cold-hearted killers.
I mean, the Fifth Doctor doesn't mind a killer Ginge in the form of Turlo, so it's not really changed since then.
Yeah, there you go. Get Veronica/Virginia back aboard the TARDIS. Yeah, that'd be interesting to listen to.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Have a sass off.
Luke Back to the comment. Luke lamented that we don't get to explore much of the town in itself, but I feel I must single out another actor for particular praise. The remarkable Richard James played pretty much the entire population of the town, not to mention every single soldier apart from Captain Andrews' station there. Ooh, he does a very good job there, doesn't he?
That's the beauty of audio, though, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
you can be typecast as like a certain thing, but with radio you can't be typecast because the voice is limitless, really. As long as you know how to use it, you're fine.
Yeah. I know Joe Sims, who plays Mark 7, of course, mentioned a couple of times. He's often typecast on screen as, like the skinhead type character.
Yeah.
But with audio, he gets to play this more heroic character in the form of Mark 7. But, yeah, that's wonderful. I suppose that's another thing about it sort of goes back to that Lauren Cornelius point where, we associate her as Dodo, and so we're not as appreciative of the performance as the demon in that. Because Richard James is playing so many different characters, we're not appreciating the performances there because we see one character to one actor a lot of the time.
Yeah, because he's doing such a good job. You don't really pick up on it because you're so immersed in what's happening in the actual story. So you just sort of, it's wrong to say set dressing, but they are sort of set dressing those little bit parts because they're world building Inchiton, aren't they? Really.
Yeah, and I suppose that's the thing with stuff like that. It's it's at its best when you're not noticing it a lot of the time.
Yes.
Whereas if we were noticing, if you're noticing that, that's the same actor again voicing yet another different character, then you're being pulled out of it. Whereas when they are doing such a good job voicing all these different characters that you don't even notice, that's they don't get the praise there because they're doing so well that you don't notice them. Which there's a bit of a paradox in there, isn't there?
Yes. Yeah.
Anyway, to link this comment neatly to your main subject of discussion this evening, here we are discussing it.
We're getting there.
9. Well, how far
Nearly.
are we through? An hour and 7 minutes.
Come on, we can get through
We've not mentioned much season 9 yet.
We'll get to it.
But yeah, I'll pick up on Luke's observations about the Quatermass connection. Quatermass was certainly Nick Briggs's principal inspiration for the story. I pointed out to him when he first told me the title. It's similar to Winnerton, as in Winnerton Flats, the location of the alien factory in Quatermass 2. And he went, oh yeah, that's probably where it came from unconsciously. I think Quatermass and the Pit is the masterpiece of the trilogy. I agree. And I can't urge Ben too strongly to watch it, and I mean the original 6-part BBC version. It's magnificently atmospheric. The music is sublime. The radiophonic workshop are cutting their eerie teeth for the first time with the sound effects. The Helicini scenes are intercut miraculously with the actual live studio recording, and Andre Morel is impeccable as Professor Quatermass, or should I say the unmistakable prototype Doctor Who. There's an astonishing moment where they've opened the ship and he's examining the insect corpses. Oops, spoiler. And the journalist asked him if they could possibly have originated on Earth. And Morel's wordless expression, his knowledge that they could not. It's thrilling. It's pure Doctor Who 4 years before it was born. Okay, tempted?
I think so. I think it's I enjoyed Nightshade and stuff, so I think I should give it a go eventually.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much inspiration that Doctor Who takes from Quatermass and the Pit throughout. Like the demons and the image of the Fendal are very much like not parodies of it, but homages to it at the very least. Taking a lot of similar ideas from there.
That's what Doctor Who is, though. It really it's a magpie. It picks up on good ideas and like how can we put a Doctor Who spin on it. So it'd be great to have that original influence there in its like entirety.
Yeah, to like you'd be seeing the prototype, I suppose.
Yes, yeah,
the template, the blueprint.
Yeah, that's a better way of putting it. Yeah,
yeah. But like prototype sort of implies a less finished version, whereas I'd probably say Quatermass and the Pit does it even better than Doctor Who does in those two stories. And those are good Doctor Who stories, but Quatermass and the Pit, it is something special. They've got it on Blu-ray as well, and it looks wonderful. It is
I'm gonna have a look now. Actually,
almost, yeah. I think it's been out a good couple of years, that Blu-ray,
it's
so
got
it should be
is it
fairly
like
cheap on Amazon now.
the insect on the cover? I think, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I know
like
what
a
you mean.
and it's got a silhouette of Quatermass there as
It's a bit
well.
like the Power of the Dalek steelbook. I think it's by Stuart.
Yeah, I believe it came out around the same time. There. So I just want to ask Luke, how have you experienced the original BBC Quatermass serials? I had like the original box set they did of all three of them on DVD. I started with Quatermass 2 because that was the first complete one. And then I can't remember whether I did the 2 surviving episodes of the Quatermass experiment after that or before. And then, yeah, it was either that or I did Quatermass in the Pit first and then did the 2 surviving episodes last. But yeah, definitely remember starting off with Quatermass 2, right, which I do have a soft spot for. I think it's often panned as the least successful of the Quatermass ones, but I do like it. I mean, sadly, there's no chance of ever getting the original Quatermass episodes 3 to 6 because they weren't even recorded. Like, they went out as a live broadcast and they like recorded the feed of the first 2 episodes for the possible repeats, but then decided it wasn't really working out. So yeah, those final 4 episodes really are lost to time.
I think I might purchase that tomorrow. Actually,
Oh, there he goes. How much is it at the moment?
£12.47.
Oh, that's worthwhile. Yeah, I think it's a good one to start off with, and then you can always go back and get the original box set. 'Cause I think it is amazing how much better it looks on Blu-ray as well.
I'm going to talk about Blu-ray quality pretty soon.
Yeah, we will.
Season 9.
Yeah, let's get through the rest of Stephen's comment here. No, we've done it, Stephen. We've got. He's going to order it. Mission complete. On a slightly more banal level, the relationship between Quatermass and the skeptical Colonel Breen is the absolute template of that Doctor/Brigadier. Indeed. I think especially when you look at stories like the Silurians and you see much more friction there, whereas in later, like, there's a softening of that relationship, isn't there?
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, with Breen and Quatermass, there's no love there whatsoever. I think with the Doctor and the Brigadier, there is love, even if they're constantly arguing and seeing from different points of view. I mean, there's ultimately that friendship there. With Quatermass and Colonel Breen, they never really see eye to eye. But yeah, there's definitely the beginnings of where they'd base that Doctor-Brigadier relationship when the third Doctor rolls around. Having said all that in praise of Quatermass and the Pit, and undoubtedly Quatermass Tudor is the most significant influence of our beloved Pertwee era. In the summer of 1991, when I was between university and drama school, BBC Two did an extraordinary day of retrospective broadcasts, all shot at Lime Grove Studios. One of the first showings that day was the previously unscreened Unearthly Child pilot, not seen before that day ever by anyone but the original production team. I think that's a strange thought, isn't it? Because for us, growing up, when we did after that came out on it came on DVD, we just see that as like an accepted part of Doctor Who culture, really, don't we?
Was it ever released on VHS?
I believe so.
I think, wasn't it? It might have been in like one of the last VHSs because I think they did like a first Doctor box. I don't know my VHS history.
I feel like maybe they stuck it with some lost, like orphaned episodes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think that might be the way they did it. But yeah, because if it came out in 1991, like broadcast then I imagine it would have made the DVD, the VHS range, because that was probably about midway through by then.
Yeah, they would probably just be getting started, really, I think, with it. Yeah.
Anyway, and the last showing that day, just before close down, was episode 3 of Quatermass 2 with its chilling title, The Food. I think one of the principal factors that you laugh, but it
Okay.
is chilling
It
when
ju-
you know
it
the
just-
context.
It just reminds me of like a Jaguar and Lightfoot story, you know. Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh.
With psychedelic toads. But carry on.
Yeah. Quatermass 2 is probably the this is me saying this, not Stephen. It's probably the
Okay.
darkest of the 3, I'd say.
Okay.
It's especially a moment in episode 5 where some screams suddenly stop and something starts coming along a pipe. But and I think beautifully helped by the black and white as well. But anyway, I think the principal fact, this is now Stephen again, I think one of the principal factors that for many people singles out Inferno as the quintessential season 7 poetry story aesthetically is all the location work at King's North Oil Refinery. It's brilliantly and wonderfully and directly derivative of the location work at an identical location in Quatermass 2. Similarly, a lot of the most memorable visual material in the later episodes of Ambassadors of Death, Regan tampering with Variant 3 or connecting the poison gas pipes, has the same origins. There are strong echoes of this haunting what I call post-nuclear industrial Gothic throughout the Pertwee era.
Ooh.
I like that phrasing,
That's good.
post-nuclear industrial Gothic. It perfectly describes it, doesn't it?
Yeah. You know when we talk about like you can feel like the grit on the film.
Yeah, that's
it well, doesn't it? You know.
I think it matches perfectly with that eerie music from Inferno. It's like it's the emptiness of the world around it.
Yeah.
And there's a haunting vibe to that. Yeah, love that stuff.
Because the music for Inferno feels like it's part of the environment, doesn't it? With like the wind, how it incorporates that to the music.
Very well done.
Stuff.
Yeah. The Auton Plastics factories, the Derbyshire cyclotron, the Dungeness power station, Global Chemicals, and pertinent to the new Blu-ray release, the scenes that gave birth to my addiction to the program. I'm of course talking the Sea Devils. Interestingly, Hulk originally wrote the mystery to center on an oil rig and returned it to that location in the novelization. Oh, I didn't know that.
No, I might have to pick up the Target book now.
No, that's surprising. But Michael Bryant brilliantly makes the old Seafort earning its Quatermass 2 power plant sci-fi credentials by being converted into a sonar testing station due the eerie honors. That first handheld shot of a hellish I am really stumbling now.
Damn.
We've still got season 9 to talk about. Of the hellish building, Malcolm Clark's doom-laden chords and the camera hurtling in through the window to the hapless crewman. Prelude to Pertwee and Joe stranded there with a malevolent threat. This all tastes to me more than anything of the Pertwee era and of the essential underlying uncanny ethos of Doctor Who and its flavour devised by Nigel Neal in Quatermass 2. It was then bottled by Sherwin and Letts, and its suffice. Stephen, you use words that are too complicated for me. I'm too young. I don't know.
You did a writing degree.
I did.
You're really selling your degree there.
Gradually spread through or over. Suffuse.
Suffuse. Yes. Suffuse, my boy.
Suffuse is the Pertwee era. Oh, I'm a fraud.
Well, that's one thing we've learned tonight.
Oh dear. There we go. That is the end of the Stephen Noonan comment. Thank you very much for that, Stephen. I embarrass myself no longer.
Thank you as ever, Stephen.
Ooh, there we go. And we have won. Ben has confirmed that he will be ordering Quatermass and the
I
Pit.
can do an update on the next stream, possibly, if I get a chance to watch it.
Yeah, because it'll come pretty quickly, won't it?
Yeah, off a certain website, yeah. Other websites are available.
Oh, do you want...
Yeah, that
Oh,
was...
you could have used your 20% off if you...
I could
if we
have
knew.
it. I'll just have to create another email. It's fine. Fine.
There we go.
It's fine.
Yeah. I mean, all websites really deliver quite quickly now, don't they?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
We are not sponsored by Amazon or any other website.
No, we're not.
Sadly.
We're not. We'd like to. Then we can get
Big
these
Finish, if you
discounts.
want to get in contact.
Yeah, hit us up.
We will happily be sponsored.
We'll happily review Big Finish.
Have you watched the live 2005 Quatermass remake with David Tennant? If you have, watch a TV recording, not the horrendous DVD. I do have the DVD. Yeah, it's an interesting transfer of that. I don't know where I'd find a TV recording. I imagine there's somewhere out on Daily Motion or something.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, that's an interesting little experiment they did there back in 2005, where it's like a live remake of it. To try and like homage the original style how that was going out live, but it's done in color and everything, and it's sort of got, I suppose, just with the nature of it, it does have a modern look to it.
Yeah, bit of a camera.
And also, I mean, fun fact though, it was during the recording of that David Tennant found out he would be the Doctor, I think, or was
he was doing
he either found out, or it was officially announced.
Okay.
But like one of the actors changed the line midway through to, instead of saying the character's name, he said Doctor to him. But David Tennant's character was also a doctor anyway, so it worked. But yeah, I'll have to look up that fact again. But there's so
yeah,
it's something like that.
Should we dive into season 9?
Yeah, I think it's about time now. Stephen Noonan's given us a wonderful little segue there with his post-nuclear industrial gothic.
It'd be a shame not to use it. So, where shall we start with season 9?
Should we start with how it lines up with the other series?
Yeah, let's do that.
The Pertwee seasons.
Because this completes Joe Grant on Blu-ray.
It does.
It's a bit sad,
but now more than I'm now more than halfway through the Pertwee era on Blu-ray.
And halfway through the collection range now. Of classic, if they do a new series.
It's also completes Roger Delgado on Blu-ray.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah. All the fun facts there.
Eric. Most somewhat depressing facts as well.
Yeah, it is. I know.
Somber, I suppose.
Yeah, but I guess those days are always going to come with these.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just a question of when you're going to face it, and we're just facing it now. You know.
I mean, on the behind the scenes for the Time Monster, Toby Haydock points out that it was the episode 4 of that story was the last time that the unit family, including Roger, like all 6 of them, were together. Obviously, they all went on to appear elsewhere, but this was the last time that all 6 of them were in one episode of Doctor Who. Because after that, Roger's off in Frontier in Space. Yeah.
I think that today marks the last appearance of Roger Delgado on Doctor Who 50 years ago as well.
Yeah, Frontier in Space Part 6. He's just been he's just shot the Doctor in the head and run off.
Yeah. So fitting day to do season 9, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah. It's a different season from what has come before, isn't it? Because
yes,
very much moving away now from that Earthbound format. You could see they're spreading their wings a bit and leaving Unit behind. Because every story in this series, except for the Sea Devils, takes like a trip in time and space away from the Unit family.
Yeah, that's
Like
true.
even, and then obviously Sea Devils doesn't include Unit at all.
Yeah.
Whereas before this, it was only Colony in Space that had done that, really.
But you still got the little workaround. Oh, the Time Lords are sending him on little missions and stuff like that. Really.
Yeah, they haven't quite given him his freedom yet. That would come in the very first story after this season, the Three Doctors. But yeah, no. I mean, how do you feel about that? Moving away from the Unit family in this season, especially with it not being like the freedom granted yet.
I think what's interesting, people think season 9 is sort of the weakest of the Pertwee era, mainly because of the mutants and the Time Monster. But I think that you do kind of lose sort of the quintessential Pertwee by moving away from the Unit stuff. But that day has to come for the show to flourish and get back to its roots. I don't think the gimmick of the Time Lord sending the Doctor, I don't think it wears thin in this, because I think they found the right balance with, story off, story on, with it happening, really.
There's a very nice structure there, isn't there? Like bookending it with the Unit stories, and then in
Both time
between,
as well. Both time related as well.
In between that, you've got a couple of trips. With one of them, like with the Curse of Peladon, the Doctor thinks it's a successful test flight. It's only at the end he realizes the Time Lords must have interfered and sent them there, which leads to that funny line from the Doctor. Do you really think it was a coincidence what he turned up here in this exact time when Peladon needed our help? It's like, it's a bloody coincidence every other time it happens. The other Doctor Who story. But no, this is the one time the Time Lords have interfered. Do you think it could be because they have that rule about women, unless they're of royal blood, isn't it? Men of rank and women of royal blood
nobility,
are allowed to speak in the courtroom.
Yeah.
Do you think the Time Lords deliberately delayed the original ambassador because they saw, Earth's made the mistake of sending a woman?
Maybe they're like, we're going to help you out here.
That stylish one. Please do not clip that out of context, because that makes me.
I mean, you are a bit, tired tonight. Do you think he's a bit tired? Maybe I need a new co-host.
Don't you think? Oh no.
Oh dear.
What did he say?
Oh dear.
Yeah, could that be the reason?
Maybe. I don't know. Oh dear.
Just got in time, stone cold sober, to hear Luke Duke confused by suffused.
Hey, you got it right that time.
Stephen. Yeah,
I got it right.
I was like, careful there. I was like,
oh dear.
You can read the next Stephen comment.
I mean, I'll sound like an ice.
You do a better job than me.
All right.
Maybe I should have done the whole thing in the French accent after all.
Maybe
I got away with mispronouncing words then, because it's just
multitude of sins.
Is it a law?
Yeah. Moving on from your
the Brigand Unit were supposed to appear in the Sea Devils, but Nicholas Courtney went on holiday, hence their absence those trip hours. Ooh.
I think it works without the brig, to be honest, having like Captain Hart there.
Yeah, I thought it was maybe more down to the whole Navy thing. Army, Navy, and Air Force stereotypically have that rivalry between them, don't they? So I thought maybe it was a condition of, okay, you can have naval cooperation, but you can't put any of those army bots in there. Keep them away from. This is our story.
And I think it benefits the story having that different military organization there, really. You know?
Again, as we were saying about how this season is well formatted, having that Earthbound story in the middle that doesn't include UNIT works out nicely.
I don't want to say palate cleanser. But yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of a way of getting around it without it being the Time Lords have sent them on a mission. But anyway, as I was saying before we went off on a tangent, with Curse of Peladon, it's established as, right at the end, you realise, the Time Lords have sent them here, whereas the Mutants does the opposite, and right at the start, it's made very clear that the Doctor is being sent on a mission. He's given this gift to bring to someone, this delivery. Or box, as they call it. Which is,
like it's not a box. It's definitely a sphere.
It's an egg of some kind.
Yeah. Perfect for Easter, isn't it? To watch the Mutants. The Doctor deliver Easter egg to Kai.
Yeah. You're going to be sitting there with your Easter egg later, and you're going to have an imaginary Joe Grant going, "Aren't you going to open it?"
Oh dear.
It's wonderful in the trailer. They put the season 9 box set over
Yeah.
it.
Works so well.
Oh, Stephen Noonan. I can't spell sober. Oh yeah, it was sobre in the. He's getting in on the French as well.
Yeah, there we go. Bit on the Stella Artois. That's French, I think. But yeah.
If you say it with a French accent, I'll believe it's French. It's the way it works.
Yeah.
Champagne. That's definitely French.
Yeah. Champagne.
Yeah, it's obviously something to do with words beginning with S.
Yeah. There we go.
No, we're getting our Hartnell fluffs in tonight.
Yeah. But you say it with such conviction.
Yeah. That's...
like Pertwee, so you're on brand.
It's how to get ahead in politics, isn't it? If you convincingly say the wrong thing, you're doing better than if you and ah about the right thing.
Yeah, the sheep will follow. Like, he sounds convincing. I'll go for that person.
There's a saying about it of some kind, but I can't remember it.
Barry Letts probably has a big moral message about it.
Yeah. Anyway, shall we talk about Day of the Daleks?
Yes, let's do that.
Barry, let's do that. It's the cheapest joke I could have gone for there.
To be honest, at least you're cracking jokes after reading. You have the brain capacity to go, oh, that's a funny thing to say.
My sense of humour survived intact. Just don't mention Terrence. We can't have any of those jokes on.
No.
Anyway.
Maybe with Curse of Peladon we can.
Yeah. I think.
But yeah.
You mentioned earlier that you have a specific way of watching the story.
Yes.
That helps you get through.
I wouldn't say helps
you sleep at night.
I wouldn't say helps me get through it. You're putting words in my mouth there.
Ben hates Day of the Daleks original edition. He can only watch the special edition. That's exactly the words I have put into his mouth.
I don't hate the original edition.
No. I've said it with conviction now. So it must be the truth.
Oh, there we go. Clip that. Sorry, clip that.
So, have your piece.
I will have my piece. For me, it's only really I've been put into perspective from my dad, actually, because he was doing the casual dad thing of leaning in the doorway when I was watching, like, behind the sofa. He's like, they're doing a bit much, aren't they, with it? And I was like, how so? He's like, they're kind of throwing everything at the story, and it made me go, maybe that's why I like the special edition, because of the vision of Day of the Daleks, because Day of the Daleks is throwing everything at it. It's a ghost story. It's a political story with the delegates. It's time travel. It's literally everything Doctor Who is. It's kind of a base under siege as well, with like the house and stuff. And I think the special edition encapsulates Louis Marx's vision perfectly, because it hides the sins of Day of the Daleks when you get to episode 4 with the house, with the 2 Daleks going into the house, and then we're going to film it, another angle, get the 2 Daleks. I like it in the sense that it's going back to that thing of Doctor Who's the show that could, the little show that can. And I think the special edition just kind of bulks it up. And I think that it's the best special edition they've done in the range. And like I say, it just complements the vision. And I think it gets the ideas down better.
No.
So yeah, that's why I prefer special edition.
No, that's fair. When you said about how your dad was like peering in through the door to watch it a bit,
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say you can only watch it now peering in through the door. Every time you
Behind
do it,
the
you have
sofa,
to go
behind the
outside the
sofa.
room.
Yeah.
There you go.
Dear, dear.
But I can understand that. I think the special edition is very much, that original vision brought to life more fully, isn't that?
Yeah.
I think it's the reason it stands out so much as one of the highlights of the special editions of these toys, because Day of the Daleks is one where you could sort of you can see it's trying.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's a series opener. They want to get the Radio Times cover. They want to throw everything at it, really.
I mean, I have watched the omnibus version of this, funnily enough, which is just over an hour. Like they cut a good amount out of it, really. Like I think, 10 minutes off of each episode really has been shaved.
Wait until you get to see Devil's episode 3 on the omnibus.
Oh,
that's about 8 minutes long. That's 8
We've
minutes.
sort of divided. We've unintentionally divided omnibus duty between us, haven't we? You've done the Sea Devils omnibus, and I've done the Day of the Daleks omnibus.
Yeah.
But yeah, funnily enough, I don't feel like there was much missing.
Okay.
Like I think the only real glaring thing that stood out to me as a bit awkward was that they cut out the controller's betrayal.
Yeah.
I mean, but they still keep his extermination.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of a bizarre choice.
Okay.
But yeah, for the most part, it flows quite well, even with what's cut. Like, they cut out the whole double Doctor and Joe bit at the start. And then they also cut out the reference that later on where the Doctor says, we saw a couple of temporal separatists or whatever it is a few moments ago. That whole bit, didn't they?
Yeah.
Like, that's cut out as well. And when the Doctor says, how would you like to spend the night in a haunted house? We then cut directly to them in the haunted house.
Oh, that worked quite well then.
Yeah. There's stuff like that. I mean, often with these cut downs, from what I've experienced, I feel like they start off quite well. And then you can tell towards the end they're coming to their time limit. And so they have to chop up the last couple of parts more haphazardly.
You basically get the full first episode, and then after that, it's kind of they start chopping quite heavily as you get over the hour mark, I think.
Yeah, that's what I've experienced. But with Day of the Daleks, it feels quite evenly cut. It doesn't feel too front-loaded. They still keep the original ending as well. It's like it's not cut earlier. It's like you do have the what's it called? The reprise bit of episode 2. You know how with Day of the Daleks, of course, you could still hear the
theme in the cliffhanger.
The theme, yeah, the cliffhanger theme, the sting.
Yeah, the little stuff.
Yeah, you get that with the part 2 one, but not with part 1 and part 3.
You get that with the Sea Devil one as well, with the Master throwing the dagger. You can hear the sting in it as well.
Oh, I see.
And the Sea Devil omnibus as well.
Yeah.
Clarify.
I think certainly there are times where the cuts feel a bit sudden, but you can't tell whether it's because you know what comes after it, and so it feels weird not having that. Yeah. But I'd say I'm surprised by how well Day of the Daleks worked, cut down to an hour for me.
'Cause I think it's interesting because I've noticed a common criticism with classic Who now for people is that, it's 6-parters are too long. There'd be a really nice 4-parter. So it's interesting to give people the experience of having 6-parters cut down now, and whether that works. And we'll get to see whether the Sea Devil works as essentially a 4-parter later on.
Yeah, I think is that one about 75 minutes? They cut it down to in the end.
Yeah, I think it's roughly that, I'd say.
No. Stephen Noonan says, I did a French exchange in 1982 when they repeated Curse of Peladon, and the visiting French kid, Laurent, who'd never seen Doctor Who, thought the Earth ambassador was Pertwee's wife, and he's running off with Jo, his mistress, at the end in the TARDIS.
Sacre bleu.
Oh, no. Come along, my dear.
They're off to fall off a cliff now, Come on, Jo.
Oh, Stephen Noonan also says, I can only watch the special edition of Day of the Daleks now too.
There we go. I don't have to hand in my purist Pertwee fan card just yet.
In the attack on the controller's base in part 4, like when they rescue the Doctor and Jo, like outside, there's that shot of the gorilla with the hood.
Yeah.
So, was that an original one, or was that done for the special edition?
I imagine special edition.
Because it's in the omnibus.
Oh, it must be the original then.
But I don't know, because the omnibus isn't the original omnibus. It's like they've looked at notes and remade it from the footage they've got and cut it together because the original's lost. And so I'm just wondering, did that slip in there? Or is that part of the original and the memory's cheated a bit? Which is fitting because the memory cheats is one of the
special features
about how people remember that attack being much more grand as a child than they do now when they rewatch it. But yeah, I'm wondering, because I swear that is a special edition shot, because it looks like, because it's a gorilla on their own, and it looks like they've just got a new actor and put them in the costume to get shot.
Yeah.
Because certainly they do that with one of the unit soldiers when the Daleks arrive. But yeah, I don't... I'd have to go through the original and find out. But watching the omnibus, I was like, I swear that's a shot from the special edition. Anyone in the chat who knows more than I do about Day of the Daleks, please share whether that is part of the special or standard edition, because it caught me off guard when I saw it. I was like, But yeah, the special edition remounted shots fit in so well, don't they?
Yes. I think they used like the same camera, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, I just think it works so much better. Like like if you are a purist, it doesn't take away from it. It's just an option.
I think one thing I would have liked is a third option where it's completely the original effects and visuals, but just with Nick Briggs Dalek voices.
Okay, that would be nice.
I think that would be a fun little middle ground bonus.
Yeah.
For those who are mostly purists, but wouldn't mind a better Dalek voice.
For me, like Day of the Daleks just feels so... I just think all the Pertwee Daleks stories feel so special to me because of the Dalek tapes, that special feature on the Genesis of the Daleks DVD, and just learning
Was that your
about...
first look into them?
Yeah, that was my first look, and because they were quite late on in the DVD range, the Pertwee Dalek story, so they just feel, kind of sacred to me. And I always get that sort of buzz, like I'm watching it for the first time again when I watch those stories. I just think, oh, wow, lucky to have these, even though they're not missing. It's just that mindset I have.
When I was in primary, I suppose also as well, they never showed them on gold, did they? I don't think the Dalek ones.
I think maybe I think Death to the Daleks was shown quite a bit on gold. I know Day of the Daleks was a fairly
Daleks on gold.
Fairly early VHS. I think a lot of people are quite nostalgic for those.
Yeah, I have a back in primary school, a friend lent me their copy of Day of the Daleks on VHS, and so that was
Hmm.
my first experience of the story. Yeah, and so I have quite fond memories of it from that.
Yeah.
But I mean, my first poetry story was Frontier in Space, though, also on VHS, and so yeah, it had a little Dalek tease at the end there, and then waited a very long time to eventually get round to plan. Because back then, when you know about missing episodes and such, you don't
Yeah.
really connect the dots that it's just the Troughton and
Hartnell.
Hartnell ones that are missing, and so I thought Planet of the Daleks was a lost
Oh,
story
bless
for a
you. I
while.
mean, technically, the Bowie stuff was missing at a time.
Yeah, I mean, the original color stuff still is, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, should we talk about the restoration, actually, since we're talking about that?
Yeah, can do, because this is some wonderful work on this Blu-ray.
Yeah. We thought season 8 was some weird black magic of how they restored, some of these stories, but season 9 really has benefited the Blu-ray treatment. It's interesting that you mentioned this, but they have the DVD version. Not sure why
Mm.
you'd want the DVD version, maybe because it's slightly cropped on Blu-ray. I don't know.
I
But
think it's maybe because of how, as well, they've restored some of them. Because it's not all of the DVD versions, and like even with some stories, it's only certain episodes. Like I think it's only episodes 1 to 3 of the Sea Devils that you have the original
the
DVD
omnibus has
version.
got a DVD version as well.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah, like there's a DVD version of the omnibus.
I don't think it's the case with Day of the Daleks. I don't think Day of the Daleks has any DVD versions on it.
I can have a little look 'cause I've got the booklet out.
Yeah. I think Time Monster has only episodes 1 to 5, but I think it's down to, the restoration, because it's different restoration techniques used. Like they
Yeah.
went back and started from scratch with some of the Blu-ray episodes. So it all depends. I think because they had the original color copy of episode 6 of the Time Monster anyway, and so that's why they've not included that one. They did the same for Colony in Space, but I don't think they did it for any others on season 8.
Yeah, I think season Colony was just that. I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think what they've done now is they've converted the PAL and like the NT SC color tapes and mix them together to get the version we have now, I think.
Hmm.
And I think it really does show. I think you get the best of both worlds with them because I think they're a lot sharper, especially in stories like Curse of Peladon, where
Yeah.
it's quite a low lit story because of it being in this sort of medieval castle. So there's a lot more crispness to it. Like you can see Islia's, scales on his chin and all that, and it's beautiful stuff. And you mentioned the Sea Devils.
Yeah, you can see the detail in the waves a lot more.
Mm.
Like in the opening. It's much more crisp. Much less blurry and fuzzy at times.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think with Curse of Peladon, none of the atmosphere is lost.
No.
Yeah. Like you could very easily worry that clearing that up would lose some of the atmosphere, because it's quite a darkly lit story. It has quite a cozy feel about it with the torchlight and
Yes.
the wind blowing outside the castle and such. And my goodness, those scenes outside the castle on the cliff tops,
So good.
that is so well restored.
It's like it was filmed yesterday, isn't it? Really,
Mm.
it's kind of. I wouldn't say
Yeah.
it's like Spearhead quality, but it's near there.
Yeah, it's probably about as close as we can get to it, because it's not the original film versions, is it? It's the videotape version of the film version,
Even
which was
the
then
fight
probably filmed
sequence,
over. Yeah.
that's done restored brilliantly
Oh yeah, that's another
with the
wonderful
Doctor versus
moment.
Gron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so certainly restoration work is impeccable on this release. I
It
can't
just
really
makes me
speak much for
excited.
the Mutants and the Time Monster, because this is my only experience with these stories.
Yeah.
man. But I mean, the Mutants looks wonderful. The cave sequences are very well restored.
Yeah, I think as well, The Mutant was 2011, so it's a pretty late DVD. So I guess there's been enough time to get it up to a better standard, but not that much, really.
Yeah. I think the earliest DVD was the Sea Devils, wasn't it?
Yeah, 2008.
Yeah. And you can tell that when you go back to that DVD.
Mm.
Like it's not Two Doctors bad. It's not as in need of it as that was. But yeah, certainly now, it's wonderful watching these all in HD quality because it feels like you're watching them fresh, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's the joy, isn't it? Because you want to watch it all the way through so you can be like, oh my god, that looks amazing.
It's the closest you can get to wiping your mind and watching them for the first time again, really.
Yeah.
Joe Bowers says the improved picture quality gives me hope for Ambassadors of Death. That's probably the one that needs it the most, isn't it? And the wonders they've worked here, fingers crossed. I mean, I'd say it's that and Invasion of the Dinosaurs, episode 1, or Invasion. Right. Stylish Ron and Stephen Noonan are saying hello to each other.
Wonderful.
But I suppose, shall we talk about Curse of Peladon in a bit more depth now?
Yes, let's do that.
Because we've talked about how wonderful the restoration work is on this and the atmosphere of it. But what are your thoughts on this story? Because I think you're more of a monster Peladon guy, aren't you?
Yeah, I think because I like my Ice Warriors bad, But it so does Wendy Padbury actually. So me and Wendy are in the same camp. I think I enjoyed it a lot more this time. Maybe because it's watching it afresh, like you say. Because I watched pretty much 3 episodes all in one go. I know it's scandalous. I was just having a really good time with it, to be honest. But yeah, I really enjoy it. I think it's nice to have. I think the chemistry between Free and Joe really shines. I think season 9 highlights why Free and Joe are such a great TARDIS team. We mentioned before we started, the Time Monster is just peak Free and Joe, really.
I suppose that could be partly getting away from the unit family.
Yeah.
Allows them to be highlighted much more as a duo.
Yes.
Because before that, you're almost seeing them as a group of 5, really, aren't you? Other than Colony in Space. But I think Jo spends a lot of time away from the Doctor in Colony in Space, doesn't she?
Yeah, I will say, again, this might be an example of the memory cheats, but I swear there was more scenes between Jo and, the King.
Yeah, it's only really a couple towards the start and then at the end, isn't it?
Yeah, because there's this thing of them made out of they love each other, and and you're like, do they? They don't really have much time to fall in love with everything going on.
I mean, King Peladon certainly falls for Jo instantly.
Yeah,
you sort of get the "we're just friends" vibe from Jo.
Yeah, like you're not Cliff. I've not found my cliff yet.
No.
The TARDIS fell off the cliff, not the cliff I wanted. Right?
Lord, it was fate.
It was fate.
She knew.
Yeah, it was an omen from the
both the TARDIS and Jo fall for cliffs.
There we go. Oh, brilliant.
The Doctor helped her down a cliff in the Sea Devils so that she could do it on her own later on.
Yeah.
He taught her
how. Make a scientist of you yet?
Yeah. I mean, they've got that little documentary on the Curse of Peladon as well, don't they, about John and Katie? And I think it's a fitting story to put it on.
I think it's that or the Green Death is probably the only place you could really put it.
I'd maybe argue the Time Monster as well.
Time Monster.
They are at their best there together. Any more thoughts on Curse of Peladon, I guess?
I love Agador. He's a great guy. Big fan.
You got your little Robert Harrop now.
I've got my little Robert Harrop of my dude. Yeah, it again, it just shows the power of the story with the subtext of it. I really enjoy it. Yeah, and I think again, it's nice to have another dimension to the Ice Warriors, though I'm not a fan of it because I like my Ice Warriors bad. And it's just fun to see the Ice Warriors in color. Like, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. It's nice how they've got a more of a darker color scheme as well, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's almost like a metallic blue.
Especially when you've got that low light. Like they really suit the world of Peladon, don't they?
They do.
I think they
You can see why
complement
they
it.
keep getting brought back for it.
Hmm.
Yeah, and Peladon is a very rich world that they've created here.
I mean, we still need to do our Peladon stream at some point.
Yeah, that's it. Crack that box open again and get back to it.
Yeah.
But I'm honestly not sure whether I prefer Monster or Curse, because it's nice that you have two stories that are doing different things.
Yeah.
Like I said, with the Ice Warriors, for example. And I don't mind my Ice Warriors good. I like that subversion, especially because the Doctor is very suspicious of them at first.
Yeah, it's very black and white. It's like they're doing it. They're the one who
Yeah,
messed with
they're a race of
Arcturus.
fish. Yeah, you have that nice playoff there between the Doctor and Islir, don't you?
Yeah.
And it's nice how what's the warrior's name? You got Islir and
Scourge. Scourge? Sorge.
Sorg?
Sorg, yeah, that's it.
Sorg or Zorg?
Yeah.
I think it's like two S's and then ORG, isn't it? Sorg.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Something like it's nice how he's almost like the Joe to Islir's Doctor.
Yeah, that's true. Big Finish, get that box set, please.
Yeah. I didn't see King Peladon falling for Zorg though.
Oh dear.
No. Yeah, I suppose now it's time to talk about your favourite, not just of the season, but of
Of all
Doctor Who
time.
in general.
Mm.
The Sea Devils. How was the experience of watching the omnibus? Did it aggravate you? Was it like, no, how dare you cut stuff? Was it blasphemy?
It kept the bits I wanted in. Like it had the bits you want from the Sea Devils. Like the sword fight, that's all there. You've got the Sea Devils attacking the naval base, but I think it does cut some of like the iconography of the Sea Devils in parts, like the whole attack on Trenchard's prison. That kind of cut down to them coming out of the water, Trenchard ringing up, and then it's just Trenchard being killed. Like it cut stuff down a lot. And like I said, episode 3, I think, works out about 8 minutes. And I think with the Sea Devils, the Sea Devils kind of take a back foot in the omnibus version. You kind of miss the peace talks between the Doctor and the Sea Devils. It's kind of, let's have a truce. Yeah, I'm down for that. And that's it.
I suppose the memory cheats bit again
Mm.
is that the Sea Devils perhaps don't have too big a part to play anyway in the Sea Devils, because it is
Yeah.
more of a master story, particularly early on. Like you have the one Sea Devil on the fort,
Yeah.
and then that's it. Oh, I suppose you have the single hand in the submarine right at the start.
Mm.
And then until part 3's cliffhanger, that's it really. Like they aren't in the first half that much. It's much more focused on the master.
Mm.
And when they are there, they are more cannon fodder. So Stuart Fell can jump around and do somersaults inside the Sea Devil costume.
You do miss one of his iconic somersaults in it. You only get the one on the omnibus.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah.
But yeah, I suppose the key moment of the Sea Devils as characters more than just an antagonistic force would be those peace talks. So it's a shame that they got cut. I think especially because that lends to the moral message of the story, and also the Master's evil within it, in that there was a chance for peace. The Doctor managed to get that far, but then the Master sort of interfered. Well, it's more, what's his name? Trent? Is it Trenchard? Not
He's-
Trenchard, sorry. The one from the Ministry.
oh, Walker.
Walker. Parliamentary Private Secretary. There we go.
He's got. I was surprised how funny he is.
Mm.
Because he's got some nice, funny, like, witty bits of like, oh, just toast and egg and bacon, and like just the way he's a bit like a proto Harriet Jones, how he just pops around the corner going Parliament and like all that. It feels very Harriet
I can see
Jones.
that. Yeah, I can see like the beginnings of that joke there.
It feels very like that.
Yes, we know who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you have that iconic shot of zooming in on his mouth as he's talking about sacrificing the lives of all those sailors and wiping out the Sea Devils. Where on earth is that girl with my toast?
Like, it's such a interesting choice of shot. Like, you can really sort of dissect it in an interesting way, but yeah, lives are being lost, but it kind of makes it more grotesque, doesn't it, by just having the mouth there.
Yeah, because it's very like the tech. It's there within the text, within what Malcolm Holt's written, like having him chowing down while performing this task that should make most people sick to the stomach, really, like this idea. But no, he's happily there eating away. He doesn't care about the loss of life.
I mean, it kind of reminds me of Samuel Beckett's Not I, which, if you've seen, it's a very weird theatre piece of just like a mouth. In like, it's a bit like Trapped, just like that mouth, and it's just like a monologue of different thoughts. Weird and quite dark, but yeah, kind of reminded me of that in a way.
There we go. It's the theatre nerd in you coming out of it there.
Theatre, yeah, my text and performance degree there coming free.
It's the new film scholar meme for us. That's a bit of a joke.
Yeah, there we go.
We've just lost everyone.
Yeah,
unless
well, a
James is
little
watching.
private joke. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's a character who's not really in it that much. He doesn't come in until, like, is it end of episode 4, start of episode 5?
Yeah, because he's just there to mess things up even more.
But yeah, because it's like just when you get Captain Hart on side, suddenly you got a new buffoon to deal with.
Yeah, a new threat enters.
Yeah. I mean, Captain Hart is wonderful in that he doesn't feel derivative of the Brigadier. He's not like, those characters you get in Android Invasion and Seeds of Doom, where you've got these characters who make it obvious that Nick Courtley wasn't available to film. Captain Hart feels like a fully well-rounded character of his own, completely separate of the Brigadier. He's still mostly filling that same role within the story. But I suppose it also gets to go back to the roots of, Doctor Who in modern times, like with War Machines, with Web of Fear and such, where the Doctor is at odds with these figures in authority. Whereas with the Pertwee years, because you have the unit regulars there, it's often unit that the Doctor's falling on, so you don't have as much friction there. You've got things like the Claws of Axos, though, but it's always introducing things from outside unit, isn't it, to add that friction?
You do have the friction there, but it's kind of dampened by, they are from unit because they've got these passes. So obviously, Captain Hart's in that reluctant situation that these two strangers have come in, and they're trying to investigate these missing boats and stuff. So he's kind of got to sort of back off in a way.
They're sort of funneling it through the thing of, you've got to go through the official channels, haven't?
Yeah.
Isn't it, at first? Whereas with stories like Fury from the Deep, there's that complete skepticism of where have these people come from? They've just dropped out of the sky, because they quite literally have. I mean, Fury from the Deep, they literally have.
Yeah, they
got that iconic shot of the TARDIS coming down. But yeah. Whereas with this, we know where they're from. We know that they know what they're talking about. But at the same time, Hart is, being not with UNIT, he's not familiar with the idea of aliens. Or, well, these aren't even aliens, but
We're the aliens.
Oh, that's a bit of a Quatermassy bit there.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll have to check out.
Now.
Okay, I'll have to check that out.
But yeah, it's nice how it throws a different dimension into the Third Doctor era that we haven't had up until now. It's a bit of a callback, but at the same time, with the UNIT passes still there, it smooths it over a little bit. I suppose it's sort of the earlier version of Psychic Paper in a way. Or that sort of
I can see that.
Where the Doctor's presence.
Yeah,
it would have been interesting to get more stories like this, I suppose.
Yeah, Big Finish play on that a lot more, which I like. Mainly because they didn't have the brig access, so that's a way of getting around it.
It did get to the point where it was like, okay, you could tell.
Yeah.
They want the brig here, but can't. I mean, a bit like that. What's that Andrew Smith one in Volume 3 called? Storm of the Horrifacts. That's one you can tell they're struggling without the brig. Same with Prisoners of the Lake bit, but that sort of includes him through the narration / phone calls, doesn't it?
Yes, yeah.
But I think the shining examples of how they managed to work around it without are The Hidden Realm and Rise of the New Humans. I think not necessarily shining as individual stories, but you don't feel a loss of the Brigadier and unit within them.
Yeah.
They work in the same way that the Sea Devils does. But anyway, this is season 9. We're not talking about Big Finish. We're sorry.
Oh, can't help yourself.
Yeah, don't click off. Please stay with us. We are talking about season 9.
Yeah, we are. Sea Devil. I think Sea Devils has just got such a nice charm to it, And I just love how it. Like, this is just me being an utter Pertwee geek and just knowing how John probably was. Is when he's climbing the sea fort, you can obviously tell he's not got his velvet jacket on and he's just got his shirt sleeve. Like, you can tell John, like, I'm not ruining my velvet jacket getting up this sea fort. I just because it's interesting because whenever the Doctor has to go on a quarry, like the mutants, he's wearing his shoes, and then suddenly he's wearing boots when he goes down on Solos. It's funny how Pertwee's Doctor knew that he was going to get down and dirty, so he changed into his boots. Yeah, I just find it quite funny that he just does that.
I found it quite funny that Peter Davison instantly knew it wasn't Katie Manning climbing up the sea fort.
Davison's got a thing for knickers and butts behind the sofa. Literally.
Oh, like King Peladon's about to sit down and he just turns to Janet and says, "You might get to see his pants in a second."
Curse of Paladin's got 2 offenders of that because David Daleks, he's like, "Oh, Katie Manning's knickers." Then Curse of Paladin's like, "Oh, Pertwee's arse," and then David Troughton.
And Janet's just like, "Don't start that again."
Oh, the joy.
I've lost my train of thought now. Damn it, Davison.
Sea Devil bottoms. Sea Devil was a great example of Master and Doctor chemistry. I think that Sea Devils has got a lot of iconography. I think I like the ambition of the Sea Devils by actually having stuntmen dressed in these costumes. I think the Sea Devil design is just timeless, and I think Michael E. Bryant adding the netting gives it sort of 2 dimensions in the form of, I can see a Sea Devil wearing that. But also like fish netting as well. You're like, of course they're like, oh, we've got fashion now, we can use it,
Yeah, I'd say Sea Devils is probably tied with Green Death as the 2 most iconic Pertwee stories.
That and Spearhead I'd put there as well.
Spearhead is brilliant, and I think it does have a lot of love. But I don't know if it's one of those ones that's quite on that same level. I think Green Death very much has that. It's the one with the maggots vibe to it. It's like that thing that everyone of that generation probably knew and would say to each other, "Remember the one with the maggots?" And I think Sea Devils rivals that in a way. I'm not sure if Spearhead. I think the attack scenes at the end of Spearhead.
Yeah.
those on their own constitute iconic moments. But I don't think Spearhead has an overall story.
Okay,
Like,
maybe Terror of the
yeah.
Autons with like the troll doll. I think that
Mm,
probably has got a lot of iconography for people, like but not we.
yeah, perhaps that one. And I mean, Demons is one that is often
Yeah,
lauded as quintessential Doctor Who as well. But yeah, for quintessential Pertwee, I would say Sea Devils and Green Death are very much up there.
yeah,
Yeah, and I think what's wonderful about the Pertwee era in general is that so many of the stories are very well directed.
mm.
Like, I can't really think of any that feel like run of the mill stuff. You very much feel like you've got almost auteurs coming in, really wanting to do something special and leave a mark on the show.
Yeah,
It's not. I think Peter Davison often criticised some of his directors as being like, they've just done their Z cars or whatever. I don't think Z
yeah.
car was still going in the 80s, but they've
It's
done one
paint by
show.
numbers.
They're on to the next, and so they're just getting their Doctor out of the way, get everything all lit up, get the actors to perform. And I think he called them like facilitators rather than directors, didn't they?
Yeah, I
I think
think that they're there to do a job, whereas I think the Pertwee directors have a vision, they have an idea. Often it would maybe clash with Barry Letts, because I think the person who did Day of the Daleks and Time Monster clashed with Barry Letts, hence
yeah,
why he didn't work again for them. But I think Michael E.
mm,
Bryant, I think you have a better understanding of Michael E. Bryant's choices when you watch Michael E. Bryant at the helm
mm.
of what
And I mean,
he
he's one
brings.
he's peppered throughout these bonus
Yes.
features in all the behind the sofas. He's on the what's location, and of course he's got his own little documentary.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I mean, he pops up on so many Doctor Who special features, doesn't he?
Mm.
That you are able to get an insight into why he made the choices that he made. I love learning about how he chose an actor who he knew as a friend to play the boatman at the start of the
Yeah,
Sea Devils, because he knew he'd be able to convincingly like bring the boat up and tie it up.
because that is, it's like what we were saying, like when you were misreading words, if you say it with conviction, it will look believable, you know.
Yeah.
But I think again, it's a beautiful story for John to go back to somewhat his Navy roots, really.
No.
And he does
I've
it so
remembered
well.
I've remembered a sort of quite along those lines. A Doctor Who one, no less.
Oh,
Logic, my dear Zoe, merely enables one to be wrong with authority. It's that
very
idea, isn't it? It's the
yes,
wrong with
it is.
authority thing.
Yes, that's it. Totally.
Yeah. Anyway, looking at the chat now. Stephen Noonan says, Curse of Peladon, I was reminded on this watch, is beautifully shot. And as we were saying, like so many of the
Lenny
Pertwee
Mayne,
stories feel like
brilliant.
they have a vision.
And I think you get to reappraise Lenny Mayne now from like the season 10, like Finding Lenny.
Ah, yeah.
Like it puts it into perspective. And I go, oh, actually, that was a real nice sort of creative shot. And you think the limitations of multicam telly, we've moved away from that. I think possibly soap operas still use multicam, but yeah, television's definitely a different landscape to what it was in 71, 72, really.
Yeah, a lot's changed in 50 years. As you can only expect, really.
Yeah.
Cool. The economic writing and Katie Manning's acting, one of her best performances, I think, sells the Peladon/Joe romance.
Yeah, 'cause I think classic Who doesn't really get romance right. Leela and Andred, for example. You're like, okay, how am I to believe you to go off together? But I think Joe, because she has so many what ifs, it's nice that she
Yeah.
does get that romance in the end, I guess.
I think that's probably one of the examples of classic Who getting romance right is Cliff and Joe.
Yeah.
Like, despite the short time, you can believe that. I suppose it's helped by the fact that they were a couple in real life at the time. Yeah. So they have that chemistry anyway, but I think that chemistry's written in. I mean, particularly with Andred, the problem was that Graham Williams didn't expect Louise Jameson to actually go, even though she told him, I'm leaving at the end of this season. He was like, she'll change her mind, and then had to quickly write in that exit. So it was sort of half-heartedly done, really. But yeah, back to season 9, Stephen says, the omnibus cuts my favourite line, but the point, Mr. Parliamentary Private Secretary, is that you have not destroyed, you have just made them angry. Very,
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 very
angry.
Oh.
So it is a wonderful line. Yeah. That's a shame that the omnibus gets rid of that.
Yeah.
I mentioned one of my favourite lines from Genesis is Nida saying, we'll find out what's different about them by autopsy. That one's cut from Genesis, which is sad to see.
Yeah.
That's one of those moments where John's giving it full force, isn't he, in the performance?
It's you listen to me now.
Yeah,
I
the
think
gloves
that's
are off. I'm not being
Yeah.
whimsical, I'm being serious.
I think that's John's catchphrase more than reverse the polarity, isn't it? Now you listen to me. You know. Or you look here. Oh, it's good stuff.
It's funny seeing Peter, Janet, and Sarah very much think that he's a serious doctor all the time.
Yeah, when he's not. There's a showman to him.
Yeah, there's those lighter moments, but I think it's mixed throughout, isn't it?
Hmm.
There's less overt jokes, I suppose.
It's subtle.
Hmm.
I have to have a big brain.
Yeah. It's not completely comedic, but it's also not deadly serious either.
Again, it goes back to the conviction, doesn't it? That they're so wrapped up in the story, and if you start laughing and joking, you kind of lose the threat or what the story's trying to go for.
Yeah. I think there's still a twinkle and a warmth to the characters, though.
Yeah, I think you get that.
Yeah, like just because you're not laughing out loud doesn't mean you're not smiling. Yeah. Joseph Adam, welcome to the chat, says it was good season 9. I got The Intruder 2. I watched both. I think season 20 and season 6 next. Yeah, I think either that way round or the other way round. I think we've got to get a Troughton soon. Season 6 seems most obvious to go for first, and season 20 long overdue.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, certainly one or the other of those next, please. Ooh, Stephen Noonan says, and it cuts the iconic overused word, but still, yeah, we've used it a lot, sorry. Episode 5, Sea Devils emerging from the sea.
Yeah.
Come on. Actors suffered for that, just for it to be cut in the omnibus.
You get the little bit of them at night going towards Trenchard's place, but that's it. You don't get them rising, what you see on like the DVD menu from like the DVD.
Stage1 asks, how does the Day of the Daleks omnibus compare? It flowed surprisingly well when I watched it. Stephen Noonan has not rewatched Day of the Daleks omnibus yet. No. Yeah, funnily enough, it's probably of the omnibuses I've seen so far. I've watched the Ark in Space one, the Genesis one, and now the Day one. Oh, I did the Demons as well. Despite being probably one of the most cut down because it's down to 60 minutes, I think it flowed surprisingly well. I didn't feel like there was too much missing that I needed. Like the only thing that really stood out was the controller's betrayal, or betrayal of the Daleks. But he's teaming up with humanity again and letting the Doctor and Joe go. But I think that's only really awkward because you then get his extermination later, and the Daleks are like, "You have betrayed us," but you don't actually see the betrayal, so you think it's just the typical Dalek paranoia in the context of the omnibus. Peter Davison behind the sofa is like an irritating dad taking the piss. The Sea Devils is apparently a bit silly. That's rich coming from the Doctor in the middle of Warriors of the Deep. Oh, it's horrific seeing him criticizing the Sea Devil costume, calling it rubbery and unrealistic. It's like, have you seen your Sea Devil costumes that you went up against?
I'm sorry, but the Sea Devils is the best Sea Devil story.
It's also because I mean he's no stranger to criticizing his own era though.
Yeah.
Like we even mentioned his comment recently about how he saw some directors as more facilitators, just doing their job, just getting everything in the right place to be shot and tell the story. I suppose there's one director of the Pertwee era. I think is it Alan Bromley, the one who does the Time Warrior.
Yes, that rings a bell.
I think Barry Letts sort of said about him, at least when it comes to visual effects, he wasn't that into making them look good. He just wanted to tell the story with them. That was sort of why, even though Barry Letts very much said, come on, we could do these amazing things. We can have a model shot like we did for the Demon to get a nice castle explosion. But no, Alan Bromley was like, no, just cutting to this cliff exploding. It tells the story. That's all it needs to do. So, but I feel like that's only with the special effects, though. I think in the story itself, it's still interestingly enough directed. It doesn't feel too workmanlike.
Yeah.
Joe Bowers, I think Joe and Cliff have the best romance companion exit, and I think Vicky has the worst. I've not experienced the Mythmakers, to be honest, so I can't comment there.
I can't remember the Mythmakers. I haven't listened to that for a while.
I can't say hearing that surprised me too much, though, because I think that was around the time in the 60s, given that season 3, that companion exits were more, right, push them out the door. We need to bring the new people in, rather than...
Revolving door, practically.
Yeah. Rather than actual goodbye, as such. Sargent says, I'll never help you, Silurians, from Warriors of the Deep. Has to be one of the most unintentionally hilarious lines in all of Doctor Who.
That man just wanted to be James Bond. And he's like, that is my moment to go, I am James Bond. You'll get no help from me, Silurian. Great line.
Sea Devil sequels seem to have an unfortunate tendency of having unintentionally hilarious lines. You've also got, face it, Tegan, he's drowned. After the Doctor spends about 1.5 minutes in the water. Or 1.5 seconds, sorry, 1.5 minutes. Still not enough to quite drown, but level. Yeah, and then, of course, you have quiet or twat from Legend of the Sea Devils.
Don't let the sword touch you.
Oh, no. Sea Devils regard Earth as their planet. That's not good.
Oh, Legend of the Sea Devils. Get out of here.
Yeah, we talk about the original at the moment. The best.
The best, for sure.
Stylish one. I do love having other doctors watch stories that aren't their own. It's really interesting. I love those. Are my favourite behind the sofas. Getting to see Peter Davison in particular watching other eras. Like it started with just Janet and Sarah, and then Peter started joining them for other eras, and it's been wonderful. I did have a really out there thought for season 6.
Okay.
Christopher Eccleston.
Oh.
Because it's not like he's as busy as, say, David Tennant or Matt Smith. He likes his good bit of work, with his Big Finish. And also he really admires Patrick Troughton as an actor.
That's true.
So I think if he was to watch any Doctor, he would watch a Patrick Troughton one. And so, I was thinking maybe pair her with Sophie Aldred, which feels bizarre, but I was thinking about it. Actually,
it's the bridge, isn't it?
Yeah, and her as Ace is closer to the 9th Doctor era than it would be to the 2nd Doctor era.
That is good shout.
Yeah, so I think that could be an interesting combo. Yeah. But yeah, I'd love to see Christopher Eccleston behind the sofa watching some classic Who. And I think if he was to watch any, it would be a Patrick Troughton season.
Should we move on to the Mutants? And I'm going to let you have this one.
Okay, yes, because this was my first time watching it, because before this, I've got all the DVDs of the Pertwee era, from Spearhead to the Sea Devils, and then from the Three Doctors to Planet of the Spiders. So I was missing this two-story chunk from the Pertwee era, and it's not like I was missing it as such. It's not like I was going out of my way trying to find it, but just being unable to, because it's quite easy to just buy the DVD. But I wanted to savor it. I didn't quite want to have that feeling of, right, I've got no more new Pertwee to experience now ever, to come quite so soon. And then when the collections were announced, I was thinking, right, okay, now I'll hold off until season 9 comes along, and then that'll be my chance to experience these stories for the first time. And so, yeah, about a week ago, I finally stuck on the Mutants for the first time. And it's a story, both of these ones are ones I don't know much about either. Like, because they're not on like the Sea Devils Green Death plane of existence that we mentioned before, like the iconography. They're not bits of footage that you see popping up everywhere. You don't see them on documentaries. They're not as often clips posted to YouTube. Because I think so. There must be a lot of stories that I got back when I was buying the DVD range that I'd already seen the climax to in a clip on YouTube. But with these, I was going in fairly blind. And I knew they had a bit of a dodgy reputation, I suppose. They weren't like the most well-regarded of the Pertwee stories. But the Mutants, I was really impressed. I went through 3 episodes in one go, with episodes 1, 2, and 3, because I was just enjoying it so much. It is, surprisingly enough, the most radically left-leaning story of the Pertwee era, I'd say. And it's not one by the communist Malcolm Hulke. Look, Bob Baker and Dave Martin have a lot of ideas in here. Maybe too many, maybe some of them don't quite get the focus they deserve. But its heart's very much in the right place. You know, you have segregation outright called out. You have colonialism very much stated as a negative. Like, it's not trying to both sides the situation here. It is saying, no, the Solonians are in the right here. You have a black actor in a quite substantial role for possibly the first time in Doctor Who history. Like, I can't really think of any. I can't really think of any examples before this, or many after this, really, in Classic Who, that are given quite as much, because it obviously got the awkwardness of characters like Toberman, where even though he's given a sympathetic role and a fairly large role, it's a non-speaking role for the most part.
I mean, you've got Sonny, who plays like the Ice Warriors, but obviously he's all in costume.
Yeah, and he's not like the chief Ice Warrior either.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, like, that was surprising. And I think what helps is that the character wasn't necessarily written to be black. They just cast a black actor. But I think it's kind of funny on the documentary seeing Bob Baker's shock at it, in a way, where he was like, I wrote this Cockney character, instead you got a Jamaican actor playing it, and some of the lines don't come off well. I think that was a bit unfair of them in the documentary, where they sort of like putting comedic music to some of the Cockney lines in a Jamaican accent. Like, it works fine. It's the future. People speak different ways.
Yeah, because obviously speech changes over time, doesn't it?
Yeah. And I think in this story about colonialism and racism, it would kind of be a bit awkward if there wasn't a black actor in there. I mean, there still is loads of criticism to throw at Classic Doctor Who. I still haven't quite watched that documentary they have on the Mutants about
the race war, is it?
Yeah, so race and Doctor Who. Yeah, I think it's handles it better than you'd expect for something from the 70s. And also, I was pleasantly surprised to see that he wasn't the character who got killed off. Although it was sad though losing Stubbs. They were a good
Yeah,
little. I
good
don't
little double
necessarily want
act.
to call them a double. I'm not sure if I'd quite call them a double act. They're definitely a pair,
Yeah,
and it's nice that they have that friendship between them.
they're an item.
That's it.
There we go.
But because double act you sort of see as more of a comedy thing, don't you?
Yes, yeah,
Like with the Bob Holmes double acts
yeah.
and such, you have a lot more comedy there. I mean, you do have a bit with Stubbs and Cotton. And they definitely are a pair. But I don't know if double act is quite how I'd describe them. Yeah, and then Cotton gets to survive until the end. But poor Stubbsy doesn't quite make it.
Mm.
Yeah, so it was a better outcome than I was expecting. I thought they'd both be killed off.
Yeah.
Also,
Well,
like going into each episode being like, please keep Stubbs and Cotton alive. I love them. I think they're a great little pair of characters. And it's
Yeah.
nice having like people who are arguably on the bad team, like on the side of good, like working with the Doctor.
Yeah.
So, what do you make of the mutants then?
I think that it's a real, like you say, quite a rich story with like the whole idea of it sort of taking an idea of sort of the British Empire leaving India, really, isn't it? Sort of that vibe. But
Yeah, that
putting
was
like
what
a sci-fi
inspired.
spin on it, and I like that when Doctor Who sort of takes real world events and puts a sci-fi spin on it. I think that it does the Galaxy 4 message better, I feel. With like the Mutts and the Rills.
Yeah, I could see that.
I think the Mutts are really cool, and I think the twist involving them is really, I think that's a good mystery throughout the whole story of it. Why are these people getting infected? Oh no, it's part of their natural life cycle to do that because of like the air, isn't it, or something like that?
Yeah, I think it's like the changing of the seasons as the planet
Yes.
gets closer to the sun and it moves into summer. That's how that plays out.
But yeah,
It
really,
causes
really
them
good
to
stuff.
change.
Really good
Except
stuff.
that the interference of the Earth Empire has accelerated that change and thrown nature out of balance.
Hmm.
And so that's a wonderful part of the story as well. The ecological side of it, that human interference in nature has thrown everything off. And the warnings there about that, about how we need to work with nature, not against it.
It just feels like it's the perfect Barry Letts story, doesn't it?
Yeah, that works very nicely. And also, like, the way it's presented, it's very well shot. You've got some wonderful model shots, like the shot of the missiles launching. That's incredible stuff. I love the model of the ship.
Hmm.
That's all very impressive. And then the smoke on the ground as we're on the or the mists, I should say, when we're on the planet's surface using the oxygen masks. It's a wonderfully built world, that, isn't it? How
Yes.
humans have to wear the oxygen masks to survive. But yeah, that's all very impressive shots. It sort of put me in mind of Genesis of the Daleks in some ways.
Yeah.
And then you have the very impressive cave sequences, like that, like when Joe and Kai are sat at the edge at the cave mouth, and the rockets are, or no, it's a firestorm, isn't it?
Yeah, with all the lights going off.
Yeah, like that's incredibly done, and I feel very lucky that my first experience of that was on Blu-ray, where it's even more crisp and well done. And then, of course, you have the mutts, the shadows that they have
Yeah.
there. Very gorgeous stuff. And then, of course, the one in the lightning strike. Yeah, that's wonderfully shot stuff there. And I think it's sort of, again, comparing it to Galaxy 4, funnily enough, how they tried to, capture that color style of Star Trek in the 60s.
Yeah, I can see that. With like the
That's what they were,
caves.
that's what they were trying to do with the Galaxy 4 animation. But because Galaxy 4 animation is very flat. It doesn't have the lighting. It doesn't live up to that. Whereas, yeah, the lighting in the caves, like, the purples and the greens, those hues very much live up to that. I think bring the story to life in a way that very few other stories do. It gives it that alien feel to it, doesn't it? Like, compare it to the cave sequences in the Earthshock, for example. And it's got a completely different vibe to it, which it should, because they are two different stories, two different caves. They're going for two different things. And I don't know how much of Earthshock is actually done in caves, or how much of
It's
it's
just
studio sets.
I think it's sort of studio. You get the location stuff to start off with, and then it goes to studio, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's all wonderful. Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by the mutants. Stephen Noonan says, as I alluded to last time, the Mutants doc is a lot less interesting for removing Uncle Terence's defense of the British Empire and Barry's ambivalence. I don't agree with Terence, but we should pretend the Doctor Who writers may have held old-fashioned views. So that's what was cut. I remember Stephen mentioning that there was some things cut from it in regards to the British Empire, but I didn't realise that Terence gave a defense of it.
Of
I mean, I
course,
can't say I'm
Terence
too
was.
surprised. I
Yeah.
can't say I'm surprised. We know he likes his women tied to the railway tracks.
Yeah. Bless him.
But yeah, it does seem a shame to cut it. So I think it's important to still keep those views out there, as long as you make sure to say that these are not the right views necessarily.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what I'm going for there, but yeah, I think, as Stephen says, we can't pretend that these people are going to be perfect human beings.
Yeah, they're generations away, really, aren't they? So of course they're going to have different values to what we have.
What makes the Pertwee era so intelligent, I think, is that you've got a diversity of political views amongst the writers.
That's true.
Yeah, and I think Barry said, he's happy to welcome all political backgrounds as long as you don't come along with something that's outright fascist.
Yeah, as long as there's a good story.
Yeah. I think a lot. What's wonderful about the Pertwee era is that so much of it has so much to say about many different things, and
it still resonates as well.
Yeah, the Mutants is certainly one that has a lot to say that still resonates, even if it may has too much to say or just isn't focused enough in how it's saying it.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, maybe I'll have to look up the original Mutant stock and see exactly what Uncle Terence and Barry have to say about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I did look at the runtime. I looked up on TARDIS Wiki, and it's about 2 minutes of footage missing. Which is
a fair chunk in a way, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose. Any final thoughts on the Mutants?
Go out and watch it, reappraise it, because I think that it's not a clanger that everyone thinks it is.
Yeah, I'm surprised by its reputation, really. I mean, I think it does sort of fumble a bit in part 6 with Kai's transformation.
It's a wonderful 70s, though.
Yeah, it is.
Wonderfully psychedelic.
I think it's more just the way that it feels like a Deus Ex Machina almost.
Yeah.
In how the Marshal is dealt with.
Yeah.
I think it's a shame you didn't get a reaction shot from him. I suppose it's just down to the time constraints. It's at the end of probably a long studio session.
It's nearly 10 o'clock.
Yeah. You've got all these effects going on with Kai. But I think it could have been nice to have like a cry of distress and like a point of view shot of the Marshal as he then disappears. Rather than him just standing there and then fading away. It's wonderful sets in this story as well. It all comes together very nicely, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was very pleasantly surprised with the Mutants. But yeah, shall we now talk about the Time Monster and then go on to some special features because
Yeah,
there's still
there's
a
a bit.
lot to talk about. We're 2.5 hours into this stream. Oops.
Yeah, and I've got to jet off soon.
Yeah, so let's quickly talk about the Time
Yeah,
Monster then. Ooh.
a lot of Tom
Jo-
Tittery, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, it does feel like when when the Brigadier makes that remark about the Doctor examining the entrails of a sheep.
Yes.
That Katie, it's more of a Katie Manning laugh out loud than the Joe one.
Yeah.
It's just such a genuine laugh
Yeah.
that I can't help but love it.
Yeah. It's good.
Like, yeah.
It's such a weird opener, isn't it? Because you feel like, are we getting Inferno again with the volcano? And then you get this dream sequence, which kind of gives me sort of Mind of Evil vibes, isn't it? When you get the Doctor laughing over the Master in that.
Mm. Yeah, that's all wonderfully shot stuff. I think all done on film as well, isn't it?
Mm.
Along with some of the early Atlantis scenes, like before
Yeah.
we see Atlantis proper, when you have like the old king and the young man whose names I
Yeah.
can't remember.
Yeah.
Pierce, I think, is the younger one, isn't he?
And it's Die
He's
something? Die Didius or something like that? I don't know. Can't remember.
yeah, he's the it's the same actor who plays the Doctor's guru, funnily enough,
Ah.
in Planet of Spiders, isn't it?
Yes, it is, yeah.
Mm. But yeah, like those scenes feel really good. And then when you get to actual Atlantis, I think that's when the story falls apart for me.
I think that's a common criticism. I can agree.
Yeah, but I was surprised going into this. I was expecting it to more be like Planet of the Spiders, where Unit is there, but more at a cursory glance. They're just there for the start of the story, maybe one action scene, and then off to Atlantis for the bulk, like off to Metamela 3 for the bulk of Planet of the Spiders. But actually, Unit get a good amount to do in this. Like for the first 4 parts, it's a really good story. I had a lot
And
of
some
fun.
real good cliffhangers as well, I feel.
Yeah, part 3 in particular.
With the doodle bug. Oh, so good.
Yeah. As it falls on Mike, that's something special. I think Benton gets a good amount to do with this. You could tell it's Barry Letts having his input in because he's given his actors a fair share of good stuff to do the same way he did in the Demons.
Well, that's what it's trying to be, isn't it? It's trying to be the Demons, version 2.
2.0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I
think it proves that lightning doesn't happen twice in a bottle. You can't catch it.
Yeah. They got it so right with the Demons. And then with this, you could tell they're trying to do the same thing with mixing mythology and science. But it just doesn't quite come together in the same way for me. And I did find myself a couple of times sitting there thinking, I'd rather be watching the Demons, really. Which is a shame, because it's not something you want to be feeling. I was still having a good time with a lot of what the Time Monster had to offer. I think it's one of the more sillier of Pertwee stories.
Oh, I think it's the most silliest, to be honest.
Yeah, probably. It's between this and the Three Doctors. But I feel like that's allowed to be silly.
Yeah. I love all the stuff with Bessie. That just makes my heart so happy.
Oh, yeah, Bessie and Superdrive.
Yeah, I love it because of course Bessie has a super drive. Of course he does.
Oh, there's that wonderful scene of like the Brigadier be like, no, thank you, I'd rather get there plenty of time, not in your old banger. And then he just shoots past him.
Oh, it reminds me of like Kaleidoscope, that bit with like the Whomobile going, look up Brigadier, and then it just like whooshes past.
Yeah. I mean, since we're on the topic of Big Finish, there was another funny thing that put me in mind of a recent audio. The bit where the Master does an impression of the Brigadier over the phone.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And that, at first it feels bizarre because it's obviously Nick Courtney doing the voice over it. But then you think, if he's doing all these disguises, he's got to be a good impressionist as well.
Yeah.
And so it sort of makes sense. And then that wonderfully feeds into the Autumn Infinity with the Fifth Doctor.
Yes, true.
where he's got to do the impression full on. And obviously that has the added benefit of John Coleshaw playing both the Brigadier and the Master. So it's like an extra meta to that.
Mm.
But that's gave me an even greater appreciation of that little twist in 42 now, thinking that you could argue it was foreshadowed back in 72 with
Oh,
the
brilliant,
Master doing the voice over the
brilliant.
phone. But yeah, I liked those moments where the Master says about how it feels like old times having a servant as like, subservient as you in the form of the administrator of the institute.
Hmm.
Yeah. And it sort of makes you think back to Farrell, doesn't it? I
Yeah, it
imagine
does,
that's
yeah.
who he's
The third.
fondly remembering.
Hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, it certainly goes off the rails a bit, especially in part 6, when you have the weird Kronos scene at
Yeah.
the end there. And I think it gets the Master right for a lot of it, but I don't know about that bit at the end where the Master's begging for his life.
Yeah, that feels a bit out of character.
Yeah. Like, especially with how he just comes out of the TARDIS and instantly goes down on his knees. I don't know. With the CSO background as well and everything, it just doesn't work for me.
Mm.
Sideswipe says, was the British Empire part not removed from the dock not because of Terence's views, but because of the derogatory and offensive language he used in that part? Well done, Terence.
Good old Terry.
Oh no. Stephen Noonan says Terence wrote the Brigadier so well because he had a similar outlook. Barry was more Doctor-like, or perhaps most like Clifford Jones.
Rather beautiful.
It is an interesting clash when you look at Barry and Terence. Yeah, it's almost like a combination that shouldn't work, but I think because it does so well is why the Pertwee era flourishes as well as it does.
Yeah, it's a good marriage of
As it,
those viewpoints, I think, isn't it?
yeah, I think they very much can keep each other in check.
Yeah.
Joe Bowers, what surprises me the most about the Time Monster is that neither the Brigadier or Yates interact with the Master, only Benton. And he gets a wonderful scene with the Master.
Yeah, he's the one who
As
stops the Master. He has a bit of
yeah,
upmanship, doesn't he?
yeah, that's the oldest trick in the book. And I love how the Master very much just treats Benton as like a puppy dog, really, doesn't he?
Oh, you tried. Well done.
Yeah. It's, yeah, he doesn't want to kill him because he enjoys having him around.
Yeah.
It's sort of, I say it's almost the actors bleeding into the characters there.
Yes.
And again,
Is.
that's because Barry lets Noonan both as people, so he's able to write it in there. But yeah, it's wonderful stuff. And I suppose Benton was the one who took the Master away at the end of the Demons, wasn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
So it sort of feels right that he's the one trying to get the jump on and recapture him.
Yeah.
Because this is the only story after the Demons that Unit and the Master are both involved in.
Oh yeah, that's a good bit of trivia.
So you don't really have that thing of the Brigadier wanting to recapture him on TV. Like, it's worked into audio a bit, the idea that the Master feels he's failed, but yeah. Or the Doctor, sorry, feels that the Brigadier feels that he's failed. Stephen says, no, he didn't use any dodgy language, but the opinion itself is now regarded as inadmissible. There we go.
There we are. Should we talk about special features and then wrap this up?
Yeah. I think one last thing I'd want to say about the Time Monster is that even though I feel it's a bit of a dodgy one, it has its ups and downs, specifically downs towards the end. I'm kind of glad that it was my last Pertwee to experience. Because, you got the Unit family all together. And as we said earlier, like Toby Haydock pointed out on the documentary, which I suppose we could start off by talking about.
Yeah.
Because it's the only new documentary of this set, isn't it?
For, making of,
really. of the stories, yeah. But yeah, he pointed out that part 4 in particular was the last one where the Unit family of 6, including Roger Delgado, were all together. It's the last hurrah because after this, Delgado goes on to Frontier in Space, which Yates, Benton, and the Brigadier aren't a part of. Yeah, so it's sort of it feels fitting to me that it was my last one, even if it wasn't one of Pertwee's best. I think having it be a unit hurrah,
Hmm.
I'm glad that for me to put Twiera Red out on this one.
Hmm.
So let's start with that special feature thing. Is it Time and
Atlantis.
Time and Atlantis? That's it, isn't it? Yeah. How was it for you?
I was surprised how chunky of a making of it was, really.
Is it about 50 minutes or 40?
50, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's a nice blend of like talking heads, but also it's sort of moved away from talking heads as well, with like the move on location, getting like the editor, which I thought was quite interesting, having how they did the film inserts. I thought that was quite an interesting segment.
It's like the unsung heroes of Doctor Who, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're ones that don't often get the spotlight, so it was nice to see them there.
Yeah, really nice. It's just John Levine being John Levine, to be honest, really.
Yeah. There's that wonderful bit where they're talking about the time disturbances and stuff, and then Toby Haydock stops and John Levine has to go back and get him.
Yeah. It's great little bit of improv there.
Yeah, he's great in there. You also have Katie talk about her fond memories of getting lost with John and Bessie. They're to send a search party out.
See, I think this is where the Brussels sprout music will come from.
I've not heard of this.
Have you not seen Panopticon 93 on the Three Doctors DVD or season 10?
No, I haven't.
Well, they made a whole operatic about Brussels sprouts, and I have a feeling this is how it happened. And this is, I think, the Time Monsters, the example of when John and Katie had an argument as well, because they were map reading, and Katie, being blind to the back, can't read a map.
Yeah, she said that was. I don't remember if she said it was her first proper row with John or her only row, but
Yeah, I think it was the only row they had, and I think that Time Monsters this.
Which is funny when you think about that, because this is probably the Doctor and Joe at their closest. It feels
Yeah.
There's wonderful chemistry between the two.
But yeah, really good special feature. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was almost sad seeing Richard Franklin only as the
archive footage.
Yeah, archive footage from 2009.
Yeah.
But
he had no memory of it, so but he was in it.
Yeah. I mean, I think he was doing another job at the time as well, he said.
Yeah, I think he was working with a theatre company, wasn't he, in Yorkshire?
Yeah, because he was only in the pre-filmed inserts, really, and part one.
Yeah.
I think he's not quite in the rest of the story in terms of studio. But it's like, he still gets a decent part to play in it, but it's more Benton who gets the spotlight here. Stephen Noonan says, I love the insanity of the Time Monster. It's only the big white parrot that really lets it down for me. That's certainly the thing they point out the most on the special feature as well, isn't it?
Yeah, could have been so much more.
Yeah. I love the absurdity of some of the science in it. Like, I think it's very tongue-in-cheek, like with the wine bottle concoction thing. Spinning that
it's no
around.
Bidmead, but there's a charm to it, and you kind of get lured into that charm.
I mean, I think it does the recursion thing better than Bidmead did in Legopolis. With the Master TARDIS and the Doctor TARDIS inside each other.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's because it's not as interested in the science side of it.
Yeah.
It's more interested in the characters' interactions within that environment. That I think makes it work much better for me. And I mean, that could lead us quite neatly into Michael Bryant at the helm, because he talks about how he had this idea for a show called The Boatyard, in that he reveals, and instead it became Howard's Way. I think the show ended up being under a producer he pitched it to, who then sort of nicked the idea almost, but Michael Bryant didn't mind. And Michael Bryant himself said it became a much better show because of it, because he would have made it too much about boats and not about characters. So it's sort of that same Bidmead thing there, if he makes it too much about science, not about characters. But anyway, that was a bit of a clunky, but nevertheless necessary transition as we move on to Michael Bryant at the helm. I
What a
love Michael
lovely.
Bryan.
I
He's a
love
lovely
him.
man.
I think that he's sort of, again, an unsung hero, but he's one of the most well documented directors. Like, I feel like he's the first director I properly learnt about through the DVD range, really, because he's such a prominent part of the Pertwee DVD range. And like
Yeah.
we said earlier, he's so prominent on this Blu-ray.
I suppose because he was a prominent part of Doctor Who in general, like right back to the Hartnell years he revealed, as he was like
Yeah.
on. I can't remember quite what his role was. But he's like on the BBC staff, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
Mm.
And then he did like the
Yeah.
director's course, didn't he? And then worked his way up, really.
Yeah, and then left the BBC. So he did Colony in Space, and after he got that taste for power, he was like, I don't want to be here anymore. I'm going to leave the BBC and become a freelance director instead. And then he came back and did the Sea Devils.
Mm.
Yeah. But he's wonderful. I mean, he was certainly one of like a junior director at the time, I suppose, wasn't
Yeah, very young.
he? But yeah, I think he's still got that youthful energy today. It's wonderful hearing him talk about his time on the show, and I think it was nice getting a look at his career overall as well, as long as just getting to see him mess about on a boat for a bit.
Yeah, I think that it works better than a Matthew Sweet in conversation, I feel.
It's him in his element, isn't it?
Yeah, it's where you're getting him at his most open, really, I feel.
Yeah. I mean, I think he says himself at one point early on that he's a storyteller. He likes to tell stories through directing. And I think he's also good. He's a good auteur as well, isn't he? When it comes to telling these stories of what happened in the past. Much better than me earlier.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, no comparison there. But yeah, and so with that, he can carry it by himself.
Yeah.
Because it is pretty much just 50 minutes of just Michael E. Bryan, isn't it? Or Michael Bryan. He goes by both, doesn't he? Or Michael Tennant, as he originally was.
Michael Tennant, because he was in Billy Bunter, which was a shock.
Yeah. You don't need someone like Matthew Sweet there pulling him apart, getting to the juicy bits, because he gets that himself.
Yeah.
You know,
he knows how to tell his own story, I think, and that's better.
Yeah, I think it suits this story. Another documentary, like a profile piece, the Stuart Fell one.
That was a nice, quick half-an-hour one.
Yeah, it's as in depth as it needs to be, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's a nice look at his career beyond Doctor Who as well.
Plenty of bottoms in that as well.
Yeah, from Katie Manning's to what's it? One Foot in the Grave.
Yeah, and being the pantomime horse in Heidi High.
Yeah, I think was he? No, he was the front half, wasn't he?
He was the front.
Was
the
bottom half.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a nice little one. And I think it's a well presented piece as well, like with the not quite black and white, but
the stages.
Yeah.
As
you go through, and it ends on a nice little somber note as he's remembering the ones who didn't make it.
Yeah.
Good. I think that might be my favourite of the new special features. I did really enjoy that one.
Okay.
And I think he's also. I mean, he was great in that Haydock versus Havoc.
Yeah.
And so it's nice having this as an expansion of that.
Yeah,
I'm very much looking at his time beyond Doctor Who as well. And even right back to his early life as well, growing up on, I think, is it army bases or RAF bases, he said?
Army base, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah. Been going to the cinema a lot and seeing, all those stunts in those old films. So yeah, that's a wonderful little piece. Yeah, I think I've taken the helm for the past two. So what did you think of location?
I think that this was my favourite one.
Oh, really?
I just think that it was a joy going back to the locations, and I liked it on season 22, but I think this one hit different, maybe because of my sentiment to the era and how I love it. But I think that it was more of a surprise having the guest cast appear, because you didn't know who was going to be at that location.
Yeah, you had a Nat for the first one, didn't you?
Yeah.
Kai for the next one, and I think Katie Manning just gets along well with everyone, doesn't she?
Yeah, she does.
As
She's
well
just
as Joy. And then
lovely choice character.
Michael E. Bryant again at the end there for Sea
Yeah.
Devils. And a Sea Devil.
And I see that. Oh, that was a joy. That was a joy having the Sea Devil there. But it was just nice having the history of, you know, the little castle was like Queen Victoria's childhood residency. That was a really cool thing, and that was being turned into like a hotel and spa. So I'm like, well, might book a holiday there and
Yeah.
get
a video out of that.
Get a video out of that, yeah. I'm like, here, Sea Devil locations. But yeah, I think there's a lot of fun with it. I think this shows the creativity of the Blu-ray range, because having Katie Manning on the trike was worth the price of admission alone, to be honest.
I do think it's kind of ironic with the Queen Victoria growing up in that house a bit, and then it becoming a prison for the Master. Whereas in universe for Doctor Who, she of course visits the Torchwood House, and that becomes an organisation dedicated to hunting down the Doctor. I just think there's a wonderful little something there. I'm not sure what, but there's something there. A bit of irony, I suppose.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was fun to hear. And yeah, the trike sequence was wonderful. It's her getting her John on, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it sort of makes it feel even more bittersweet that John and Katie can't share that experience together.
Yeah.
Because I think the documentary highlights that, doesn't it, towards the end? And it's interesting having Katie being that vulnerable, because Katie, because when I met Katie, I showed her like the John Pertwee auto like memorial service thing, and she's like, I don't live with that. They're still with me, you know. They're still around, you know. So it was interesting for us to sort of acknowledge that all these wonderful people aren't around anymore.
Yeah.
You know, it highlights it, doesn't it? Really.
Yeah. I haven't watched it, but I believe she says about on the Green Death commentary, she has a bit of a cry at the end there because it suddenly sinks in that John is gone, and that was like the first time it really sunk in for her.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's quite tragic. Yeah, you get those little heartstring pulls there. Yeah, but I think there was some wonderful stuff as she went up John Pertwee's hole.
Yes, that was lovely. That was lovely. Who doesn't love John Pertwee's hole?
And then, of course, you've got little remnants there from the mutants still in those caves.
Yeah, which is really nice. It's like,
the...
I fancy taking a trip now, just to go and see.
Yeah,
Climb John Pertwee's hole.
Yeah, there's a nice little selection of special features there, and I think that's all the new ones, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, pretty much of like the main featurettes, really, I should say.
Yeah. Did you watch the John Pertwee sketch from '89?
I did.
Not as many Cybermen as I was expecting.
I've seen it on YouTube, and as soon as I clicked on, I was like, "Oh, it's that." I thought it was something completely different.
Yeah, it makes it out to be something different. Like it's saying on the waterfront confronting the Cybermen, you're thinking, "Oh, we're going to be having a little thing by the Thames with him against the Cybermen," but no, he's in a psychiatrist chair, isn't he?
Yeah, it's all to promote the Ultimate Adventure.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I see. I thought it would have been something like a different show, and I thought I was like out of the loop with it. Like I was missing a few in jokes there.
No, because you've got him mentioning like all these places' names, and those were like the places he was taking the Ultimate Adventure to.
I see.
It was like a plug for that.
Oh, I knew it was a plug for something. I thought it might be a convention tour.
No.
Visiting. That makes sense. Yeah, it's funny seeing him in costume though. Like in '89, you think he could have still played the Doctor on screen. We could have had a David Tennant-esque 14th Doctor there.
I mean,
with John Pertwee.
I've had this in the back of my mind for a while, doing a video about why John Pertwee is the Doctor of the 90s, because he really is the face of Doctor Who in the 90s. He's the one who kept the show alive.
Yeah.
and he never
Is
lost
it?
the public image of the Doctor. Like, he's always in the costume, whether it be, jacket, frilly shirt. He's always there. I think that
Yeah.
there's a lot of
convention.
love there.
Yeah. And I suppose he's one of the few Doctors to have official media released during the 90s, isn't he?
Yeah.
With the BBC radio plays.
Hmm.
Stephen Noonan says the most moving one is Tom almost in tears watching his younger self in season 14 and Philip comforting him. Stylish one. Oh, that's behind the sofa. Stylish one mentioned there. I see. Yeah. Who's with them in that one? Is that Sadie Miller who's alongside them?
No,
Or
that's
is
Louise
it?
Jameson, isn't it? Louise Jameson.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's it. I think Sadie Miller is with. Is it season 12? It's those.
Yeah, season 12.
Yeah. Is June Hudson with them as well?
That's season 18. One.
Who else is? Because it's Tom, June, and John Leeson, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Oh, Joe Bowers says, just read that Fraser let slip at a convention. He recorded a behind the sofa for the Mind Robber recently. You got to have him and Wendy sitting down to watch that.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see the trade is going to be Land of Fiction. It's got to be.
Oh, I can see that. Maybe have Jamie as an older Jamie done through the same way that you had.
Yeah.
The other Jamie in that story. I can't remember the actor's name.
Yeah, Hamish.
The facial reconstruction. Hamish Wilson. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if we'll get Michael Troughton behind the sofa as well.
That'd be nice. That'd be lovely.
I could, because we've had Sadie, so
yeah, that makes sense.
Michael would be fitting as well. Or maybe David, because he's actually in the season.
Yeah, true.
He's got the war games. Yeah.
We'll have the two brothers watching it, maybe David and Michael together.
That'd be interesting. Stylish one's excited. Second Doctor Blu-ray. Imagine if they find the Invasion and Space Pirates from the Australian collector shortly after the set releases.
I mean, it sounds about right.
Oh, pain. Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll take what we can get.
Yeah, for sure.
Sounds like the Mutant Doc shouldn't have been edited, unlike, say, the Time Monster or Fang Rock commentaries. Yeah, there's some unfortunate comments from John Levine on the Time Monster original commentary. I think well meant, but yeah,
could be misinterpreted easily.
We never know, says Miserable Cactus. I'm hating and loving this pizza. It's got jalapenos on it, and my god, face purple sweating.
Damn.
God, we feel your pain. Well, we don't feel your pain, luckily, but we have sympathy.
Yeah, sympathy is there.
Yeah, not empathy, but sympathy.
Yeah. I guess that's pretty much us done, I think. Would you say?
Yeah, I'd say so. I don't want to keep you too long.
Yeah.
You got to shoot off soon.
I've got to shoot off.
Cool. It's been a good one looking back at season. I suppose with it being a third Doctor, 3 hours is the right.
Yeah, fitting. Fitting. Yeah.
Yeah. We love our Pertwee content here.
We do indeed. We do indeed.
And now we've squeezed all the content we can out of season 9. BBC, go ahead and announce the next collection set so we can start squeezing the content out of that.
Absolutely. Let's milk for next season dry. And I'm sure when the next collection's announced, we'll do a reaction, probably like season 9.
Yeah, I think we've got a cycle here, haven't we?
Yes,
it's like the reaction, the unboxing, and then the stream.
The stream, yeah. We've got that's a good little cycle of it all.
Yeah, I suppose maybe in the meantime we can do a talking all things about a season that's already been released.
Yeah, we could do.
Maybe that could be another vote.
Yeah. Let us know what collections that you want to see us tackle next.
Yeah,
within reason. It has
a
to
lot
be
of
released.
options.
Has to be released. We've done 14. We've done 14, 2, and 9.
Yeah. So
So,
what's that leave? I suppose maybe not a Pertwee one since we've just done one. Maybe yeah, there's three different Tom Bakers we're yet to do. So
yeah.
yeah, it's all to look forward to.
Yeah, we'll figure out how to put that in the diary.
Oh, Joe Bauer suggests season 19.
That'll be interesting because it's the second one.
Yeah, that'd be fitting as well if season 20 is not long away.
Mm.
There we go. Yeah, I suppose throw any quick last questions at us if you want to before we go. Yeah,
And
just
then
have a
we'll...
look for any comments I've missed. I suppose Stylish One did ask which season has the best set of behind the sofa segments so far. So Stephen Noonan answered that with the one about 14, or at least that being the most moving. But what do you think? What's your favourite set of behind the sofas?
I enjoy them, but I think the one I found most interesting was probably season 24.
That's where we had all three doctors, wasn't it? A doctor
Yeah,
on each sofa.
it was interesting to have the predecessor there in the form of
Mm.
Davo and Colin, and then McCoy watching it as well. I think that was an interesting thing to see.
Yeah, I think particularly with Colin, because this is a story he could have been in with Time and Arani.
Yeah,
Like he was very much offered it. It wasn't. It's not just that if I hadn't been fired, this would have been what I've got. It was, it could have been his regeneration story. And I think also Davison's just always entertaining, isn't he? Davison and Janet together, they're a good pair.
Yeah, Janet and Wendy, I love because they're just
Oh,
attacking each other. They're great.
and then you got Sarah there as well, sort of balancing it out a bit.
Yeah, the mediator.
She's the voice of reason a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Ooh. Stephen Noon says, "Well done, the Pertwee Swift boys. You've done him proud. Very enjoyable."
Oh, thank you, Stephen. Thank you for joining.
Thank you for being here. Thank you everyone else as well. I'm probably more in the spirit of Hartnell with all my fluffs tonight. It's made it entertaining at least, I hope.
Oh yeah, never a dull moment. Never a dull moment.
I think probably one of the most laughs we've had in a stream.
For a long time, I'd say, yeah, we like to try and be serious and professional, but sometimes we let the mask slip and the friendship, I guess, comes out on screen. I don't know.
The antagonistic forces between us.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not sure if friendship's the right word.
Well, okay. I'll see you next week. Luke won't.
Oh dear.
There we go.
I mean, I hope the friendship's always on display, to be fair.
Yeah, I hope so. That's what makes
I suppose
us
more
engaging enough.
Yeah. Maybe more casual friendship rather than professional.
Yeah.
So
I think we have the mindset of we're here to talk about this. Let's do it.
Yeah, there's definitely. I suppose there's like a switch that flicks in our heads, isn't it, when we go live?
Yeah.
Like, okay, serious time now. It's a bit like how Davison. It's a bit like how Davison seems to see the Pertwee stories.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so we're human underneath.
Yeah. We have fluffs.
We have our flaws.
Yes. Yeah, it's been good fun.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed this, and I really enjoyed diving into season 9 as well and getting to experience the mutants and the Time Monster for the first time.
Yeah, really good stuff.
Well,
Roll on the next collection set, really.
Yeah, that's all there really is to say at this point. And certainly, I've still got a few special features I need to get through as well. That are not the new ones on the set, but like the old ones I missed.
Yeah.
Like the race war we mentioned, and between now and now. That's a wonderful little Benton moment as well.
Yeah.
It's like it's got that same energy as your actual pterodactyl, doesn't it?
That is true.
Oh, thanks for another great streams there, Stylish One. Thank you for joining us, Stylish One. Always a pleasure. Oh, Stephen Noonan says you should see Janet and Wendy together in the bar after a few drinks.
Well, I think we need to experience that.
That certainly sounds like something. Let's put the filters off then as well.
Oh yeah. There's no cameras around. It's just like, right, let's rip each other's throats. I guess.
Start a bar fight.
Literally a bar brawl between those two.
We could have if someone snaps a picture, we can have like a new meme of Troughton chasing Pertwee with the drink.
Yeah, with the water fight. Yeah.
Oh, I saw a wonderful on Troughton's birthday. I saw a wonderful little convention clip of Pertwee talking about him, about a visit to a briefcase factory. Have you seen that one?
I did a tweet about that.
Oh, I missed that tweet.
Yeah, I did a tweet about imagine Pertwee and Troughton traveling the world, just getting little freebies. Like they would make a good ITV travel documentary. Those two.
Yeah, I think they're a wonderful pairing, aren't they? With like the extrovert and the introvert.
Yeah,
like he's like dragging him around everywhere.
Yeah. And it's lovely how there's like a really lovely understated Troughton impression by Pertwee. I think that was great. Because I think that full panel's on the season 8 Blu-ray. So if you want to check out the full thing, check that on there.
Is that in the Panopticon archive?
Yeah, it's Panopticon archive.
Was that the big American convention in Panopticon?
No, I think Panopticon was. I have a feeling it was Birmingham or Coventry. I no idea, but I feel like it was an England-based one.
Okay. Stylish one. Looking forward to the next, Stephen. Continue being an amazing fan, and Doctor, you two being brilliant YouTubers.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stylish one. Joe Bowers, thanks, guys. You're always entertaining. We try.
We try. we have our moments of sheer comedy. Yeah.
I don't know if that's necessarily trying. At least on my part, I'm more just slipping up and entertaining. I embarrass myself for you guys.
Yeah.
I put myself on the sacrificial plinth.
Yeah. For the sake of entertainment, you know.
Yeah. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
The sacrifices we make for our craft.
For the art. For the art, darling. For the art.
Mr. Monk Cactus, right, I'm over my pizza now, finally. Glad you've recovered, Mr. Monk Cactus. And with that, we will say goodnight, I think.
Yeah. Good night, everyone. We'll see you next on Sunday for Conflicts of Interest. Not this Sunday, Sunday after. But we'll see you tomorrow for a very fun video. If you thought we were funny today, wait until tomorrow.
It's something.
Yeah.
To say. We had a lot of fun recording it and coming up with it.
Yeah. Well, I'll say one word. Biscuit.
Not biscuits. Just biscuit.
Well, there are multiple biscuits, but there is only one biscuit for
the original, you might say.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. There we are. So that's tomorrow. Look forward to that.
Or as Colin would put it, biscuits, biscuits, biscuits.
Good night, everyone. We'll see you then.
Take care, everyone. Goodbye.